all the way up. People come in your house and they just do stuff. I mean, you know, me and Diesel, we've got an understanding. Those guys need to, yeah. I'm going to have to send out a strongly worded email.
Uh-oh.
Yes.
Lonzo would like to speak to a manager.
No, I am the manager.
What is that?
I would like to speak to a manager. And I'd like to speak to a manager right now.
And that's found gunk. I mean,
Nobody likes
I don't know what that gunk I'm trying to not speculate as to what the gunk is.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to the Rob Brown Show's on your radio. This is the Fan Upstate. Howdy, y'all. Happy Monday. How's everybody? Did you have a good weekend? Did you have a lovely sports weekend? I most certainly hope so, because I did. What a weekend it was. We had some preseason football on Thursday, and then on Friday, on Saturday, I got up to go to beautiful Charlotte, North Carolina, and get on the mic for a little Burns Rebels High School football. The Rebs get the big win on the road up against Lonzo. Who? That one actually sounds like something came out.
No, I accidentally went gold dust. My fault.
Yeah. The Rebels win against the Huskies up in beautiful Charlotte, North Carolina. Good win for the Rebs. We're going to talk about that later in the program. The Carolina Panthers had a little preseason activity against, it's a holder for my tablet. I'm trying to get to.
Yeah, that looks like it's awful big.
It's made for a mic stand.
Yeah.
So
okay.
us idiot guitarists can not forget what chords we're supposed to play.
Okay.
I'm gonna try it here too.
I'll say there's nothing wrong with that. It's being innovative and using something you already have. I mean,
it's not gonna work. It doesn't fit. It's worth a shot.
Should I ask engineering to come and help you?
Now, I can just bring a mic stand in here, but I'm lazy and don't want to. So the Rebels get a dub. The Cats don't. And for the second week in a row, Bryce Young's offense looked I don't know, Lonzo, how'd you describe it?
It's all right, I guess.
Nah.
Yeah, nah. They were out there.
They were there. At least they showed up mostly.
I looked better than the week before. There was improvement.
Barely.
Yeah, but there was improvement. I would say he didn't get hit as much.
I mean, he still got rat. Icky got beat a few times, dude. Icky got beat a few times. Christensen let up a couple. I mean, it was, I got to tell you, I'm at the point, we talked about this, Lonzo and I did before we came on the air. CJ Stroud looks more comfortable than Bryce Young does right now. I'm not saying better. Relax, Twitter. I'm not saying better. I'm saying more comfortable in the pocket. I'm going to give Bryce Young credit for one thing, though. It would be completely understandable if BY would have lost his cool and started grabbing face masks a couple of times, because there are definitely some sturdy boys in front of him not doing their job well.
He might have needed like a step ladder or something to grab that. I mean, you know, that's a reach, dude.
Yeah, no, it would have been a reach.
No, and then there would be video of him hanging off of the lineman's, his feet dangling.
Got this image of BY doing pull-ups on
exactly.
Mickey's face mask.
Yeah.
I'm going to come up to your level. Hang on. No.
What are you doing? Why are you doing that? Because he can't hold himself up there, you know.
Look, man, I am not happy. Not happy at all. And we'll talk about it later on in the radio broadcast. We will talk some CJ Stroud, too, because I got to tell you, CJ Stroud looked kind of comfortable back there for the Houston Texans. So we'll talk about the Rooks later on. Levis did not play. He's banged up. Richardson did not play because why would you play your starter, right? And Anthony Richardson. By the way, I'm almost kind of to the point where I'm like, is Anthony Richardson gonna be the best rookie in this group in the first year? Not career-wise, but in the opening year.
I don't know. I there's a lot of hype. There's been hype around all these quarterbacks. We'll see what they do when it starts for real. It's still preseason.
I'm interested, dude. I'm very interested. So we'll talk some NFL later on. Keegan said, why did the Chargers hate Max Duggan? I don't know. They went with Stick yesterday. How about a quarterback named Stick? I don't hate that. We're going to talk a lot of NFL football later on in the day. By the way, Easton Stick. That's just a quarterback's name, man.
Wasn't he the guy who taught Daredevil how to fight? I think maybe.
Stick. We got to talk some college football later on in the radio broadcast. We'll do a little bit of Gamecock talk, a little bit of Tiger talk. I will ask the question later in the show, can Spencer Rattler be that guy? Can Spencer Rattler be the dude that carries South Carolina? Because I got to tell you, I went and looked on, what was it, Sunday? Yesterday? I was kind of scrolling around the internet world, and I came across a dude who was putting together game previews about the Gamecock season, and he said that if you base it off of the ESPN Football Power Index, the Gamecocks are going to be 4-8 this year. Now, I'm going to go ahead and tell you, the Gamecocks are not going to be 4-8 this year. But I have said that 6-6 is a realistic possibility. It's pessimistic, but it's realistic. The difference between 6-6 and 8-4 is going to be Spencer Rattler being that guy in week 1, not week 4, not week 5, not week 6. He's got to be that guy from week 1. Can he be that guy? We'll take a look at that later in the show. This morning, found a very interesting write-up that I want to break down. You know, there's not much I love more than getting write-ups about Team X from the analyst of Team Y, specifically when Team Y is on the schedule for Team X. I found this morning, as I was prepping for our 2-time South Carolina Broadcasters Association Sports Talk Radio Show of the Year, I found a blog piece written up by a couple of the analysts within the Notre Dame radio network. And I want to talk to you about that. I want to break down what future opponents have to say about Clemson. Because I think if you average out what the local Clemson dudes are saying and what the away team guys who are looking for the reasons that their team is better than your team, I think you get a little bit more accurate representation of what the team is. And suffice to say, the Golden Domers kind of feel like they got you. They kind of feel like Clemson's right for the picking, so to speak. So we're going to talk about that later on in the show. We got to talk soccer. Leo Messi earns his first domestic trophy in these here United States of America, the country that invented money. We're going to talk about Messi and his Inter Miami squad, because now all that's left for Lionel is to turn his sights on the actual league, on the MLS Cup. We're going to talk about that later on in the radio broadcast. And Zoe, how about Sugar Sean this weekend? Alistair Sterling said this dude's overrated. He's like Conor McGregor without the talent. He's all show. He's all sizzle, no steak. And then Sugar Sean went out and all but put Sterling to night-night with a nasty overhand right, followed by.
If the ref hadn't jumped in there and stopped it, that looked pretty ugly.
Hey, oh, dude.
Yeah.
My man Alistair would have been looking for a face transplant. And honestly, it probably went on, I don't know, Zoe, probably 3 or 4 Thunder Fists longer than it probably should have.
Well, I think they a lot of times let the champion give a little more time to get up.
Yeah.
And he didn't.
No, he did not. No, he did not. He was very lucky that he was not taking a nap in the middle of the ring because Sugar Shane got him. Here's how I know that's a big deal. We're going to talk about this a little bit more in depth later in the show. Here's how I know that this is a big deal. After the fight was over, one of my favorite things to do is to go scroll. When you have a finish like that, is to go scroll social media because the whole sports world is in, right? Like Kevin Durant was tweeting about it. LeBron, I think, put up a tweet about it. NFLers were putting up to it. It's fun to me because there's not many things.
They were all Xing, by the way.
They were all tweeting about it. It was crazy. And I know that because I went to twitter.com to read them all.
Kevin Durant X'd about it on several different accounts.
You know, I'm very curious as to what, Lonzo, type in x.com and see where it takes you.
No, I'm not. I'm not doing that.
I jumped on the social. And of course, what popped up was the UFC account. Why wouldn't it? They were getting wild traffic at the conclusion of that fight. So I popped onto the UFC handle on Twitter, X. And what I did, you'll notice if you go back on Fight Night tweets, X's, posts, threads, whatever you want to call them, from the Ultimate Fighting Championship, you will notice that they don't ever put up full finishes to fights. They don't do it, right? They might show you the lead up to the knockout shot or the TKO. They might show you the result of the knockout punch or the TKO, but they don't ever show you the whole fight.
Which is what I want to get into later about why they're doing that.
Okay. I'm glad because I was watching and I'm like, this is the finish of the fight. I mean, it was like a solid 45, 50 seconds. That was the entire finish to the fight. And I've never seen them lean that heavy on that. So I want to talk about that. And Zoe has is it fair to call it conspiracy theory?
No, I think you'll go, yeah, that's why they're doing it.
Okay. I like it. So we'll come to that later on in the broadcast as well. We're also going to give you coming up because I don't mean, go get the sounder, Alonzo. I don't mean to alarm anybody. I don't want to get anybody all up in their feels. Alarm.
Can't believe you called for it.
Alarm. Well, you were going to do it either way. I might as well not leave a 4-second dead air gap in there. Let you be on the game.
I might have, not been paying attention.
Exactly.
It's possible.
Exactly. Not to sound the alarm for anybody, the alarm for anybody, but it is college football week 0.
Sure, we're going to have some amazing games on week 0.
Week 0.
Well, you just went through a week 0 game in high school. Why not have one in college also?
I tell you, it was fun. It was good to be back on the mic. It's like riding a bike. Took a little while to kind of get back into the zone, Took a minute to get back comfortable for making the big play calls, getting back into.
I don't know. Before it started, you guys were a little salty. I know why now, but you guys were a little salty. So, I mean, I get to hear things that other people don't hear before you actually go on the broadcast. It was sounded like intense.
No, we were in a press box.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
Yeah, I know.
We were not in a tent.
Okay. All right.
Which is fortunate because initially I genuinely thought we were going to be broadcasting like from the bleachers. And
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, there's going to be about 3 sections of fans who are not going to like me.
Okay. Excuse me. We're here to enjoy the game. Could you please stop being so loud? I can't hear myself talk.
Touchdown, Rebels! Got to say that a few times. That felt good.
I'm gonna go
to pick 6.
I'm gonna go talk to the usher. What do you mean we don't have ushers here?
Week 0 features coming up on Saturday, Lonzo, at 2:30 in the afternoon, live from Aviva Stadium in Dublin, Ireland. Navy and Notre Dame. You're not jacked?
I wonder who they're going to pull for over. Come on, you're gonna watch just because it's in Ireland, just to see.
Chance for Notre Dame. I am absolutely gonna watch it. You know why? Because it's college football. That's why. Because it's college bleeping football. That's why I'm gonna watch
I'm
it.
curious to see how many Irish fans will dress up as leprechauns, because maybe they don't like that.
You know what? I've never heard an Irish guy say they're offended by it.
Yeah,
Which is why Notre Dame gets to keep doing it.
Yeah, I've had a discussion with an Irish guy, and
That's
he's
right.
not
You
really,
got an Irish guy.
Yeah.
Lonzo has an Irish guy now.
I do. I don't know that he's mine. It's
Whose show is he on?
He works at State. That's true. That is true. He is on my show.
Odie the Irishman. I gotta come do a show, man. It's been too long.
It has.
I want to say, are you concerned about Odie and I sharing my time together?
I've already had to navigate Odie and Pappy, so
throw me in the mix. The instigator.
Yeah,
it's gonna be great.
I am a professional. I got a good shot of being okay. I don't know, man. I'm a little scared of it.
The Upstate Poll, Saturdays from 7 to 9 on WORD. It is the best pop culture nerd show in the world. All right, let's take a break. Here's what I want to do to start, since it is week 0 in college football. Also, we got that big Hawaii Vanderbilt matchup over in Nashville. I kind of want to go to Nashville this weekend now. All right, let's take a break. When we come back here in just a minute from right now, let's get into some stuff, including I put together a list of what I think are the 10 biggest storylines in this year's college football season. I got a list of coaches I truly believe are officially on the hot seat, and there are 2 or 3 of them that are pertinent to our area. I'll tell you who they all are coming up later on in the show. My name is Rob Brown, the sheriff of sports talk, the great one Lonzo's on the ones and twos. Ladies and gentlemen, the 2-time SCBA broadcast of the year, sports, is on your radio. It's the Rob Brown Show. It is the Fan Upstate.
Gambles.
All right, guys, got a live read right here. Stay right there. We'll be right back.
ProDuctPro.com. Member FDIC.
Sponsored by Corley Plumbing, Air and Electric.
At Corley Plumbing, Air, and Electric, we provide transparent, upfront pricing you can depend on. Call Corley Plumbing, Air, and Electric today, or skip the line and book online. CorleyPro.com. That's CorleyPro.com.
The nationally ranked Furman Paladins opened the 2023
Yeah.
31st at Paladin Stadium against Tennessee Tech. Hi, everybody. Dan Scott, voice of the Paladins here, inviting you to join David Cobb, Marcus McMorris, Tom Van Hoy, and me as we bring you all the action.
In case you wanted to know what a couple of studs look like at their studdiest, ladies and gentlemen, there you have it.
There's several pictures of you up there by yourself and with what's his name and
Bang! The Sheriff of Sports Talk on the stream, ladies and gentlemen. Facebook.com/TheFanUpstate, Twitter.com/TheFanUpstate. Search and subscribe to The Fan Upstate on YouTube and The Rob Brown Show on Twitch. If you're not watching the stream yet, the South Carolina Broadcasters Association has been ever so kind enough to post some of the pictures from our awards banquet the other night, including the picture of the Sheriff of Sports Talk. And also I'm there.
that pretty much encapsulates it also encapsulates the entire this show right here.
Yeah, it kind of does.
It does.
It kind of does. It is kind of like that. That just is the new picture we go with.
You got attitude and you got that is you could say that's a happy smile. That's an evil smile right there. That's like, yeah, we coming back.
I mean, we look good. What do you want?
Next year.
We look good.
Next decade.
A lot. We hope. Fingers crossed. All right, let's get some stuff in here on the radio broadcast. If you want to be a part of it, the phone line's open. 844-326-3663 is the phone number. The carpros.com text line is 71307. 71307. If you want to shoot us a text, start that text with FAN, F-A-N, FAN, F-A-N, and we will read them on the radio broadcast. Texter said, driving to Destin for a week and I'll listen to the show on the Odyssey app. First stop tonight, the Boathouse Oyster Bar. I'll throw $1 on the wall for you, bro. Hell yeah. That's my stomping grounds, big dog. That's my stomping grounds. That is the place. I love it. Have a good time down there in Destin. All right, couple of storylines I'm keeping an eye on in college football. And I'm intrigued greatly by the first one. Georgia looking for the three-peat. Let's play a little Rob Brown Show trivia, shall we? There has been one three-peat in college football history. Can anybody tell me who it was? Anybody. First and only three-peat in college football took place, Lonzo, in 1934, 35, and 36.
New York Yankees.
Good guess.
No, back then, I mean, there was some weird names that were also, baseball and football and stuff.
You'll recognize this name, Lonzo. The Minnesota Golden Gophers, eh?
Wow, Minnesota back in the day.
Minnesota with the only three-peat in college football history. I could see it from my front porch.
Probably the last time that they actually won anything.
Might be. Back in the mid-30s, Minnesota claimed 3 straight national titles, which means that if Georgia can do it again, they would impede on the backyard of history. The Bulldogs sitting as the season odds-on favorites to win the title, although they do have a lot to do. The Dogs had 10 players drafted. They include Jalen Carter. They include Broderick Jones. They include Nolan Smith, all first rounders. Of course, Stetson Bennett, the fourth, went off the board in the 4th round. He's looked decent in preseason for the LA Rams. I'm not saying that they've got QBF locked in.
He's a punk.
But he's making the argument.
He's a punk.
He's not a punk. I don't know why. Why do you have it out for Step
He's
Ben?
like 35 years old, and he's got
25 years old.
And he's just got the smirk is just, yeah.
Old Step Ben.
Punk.
So Carson Beck has won the starting job for the Georgia Bulldogs. He backed Bennett up last year. The offensive line for Georgia is very good. Brock Bowers might very well be in New York as a Heisman Trophy finalist at the tight end position. He is that good. That dude is an almost guaranteed first-round pick. The defense, very good. Despite losing as much as they lost, they've got Michael Williams up front, Jamin Dumas Johnson at linebacker, Malachi Starks, Javon Bullard, Kamari Lassiter leading the secondary. They're going to have one of the better secondaries in football. So Georgia set up to go three-peat. And we've talked about this a few times. Georgia's football schedule is honestly not that impressive, man. Like, it's really not. We have run over this schedule a couple of times, so we don't have to spend a ton of time on it, but they do not have Alabama in the regular season. They do not have LSU in the regular season. They do not have Texas A&M in the regular season. They've got a couple of tuned-up games in UT Martin and Ball State, both at home. Week 3, they welcome the Gamecocks to the house. And respectfully to Beamers, fellas, that's not going to go great. All right? I have told you Gamecocks already. Don't be shocked if you get beat by 35 plus in that game. Georgia's going to be real good. And it's in Georgia. That's going to be ugly. They got UAB. They're at Auburn. Back home for Kentucky, then at Vanderbilt. Of those
wait.
three,
I just
the one I want at home's at home.
I love when a team shocks the world. And you're acting like there's no chance of the world being shocked when the Gamecocks defeat Georgia.
It's college football.
They've shocked the world before.
It's college football. And yes, I love the cliche, any given Saturday. Because, yeah, any given Saturday, Appy State can go beat Michigan on the road.
We have seen teams come in flat, and flat is contagious. You know, one guy comes in flat, the next guy starts feeling it. Then before you know it, the entire team is a little bit off. The team across the way comes in on fire. Things, a little bit of luck is thrown in there, and next thing you know, you have shocked the world.
Look, it would be great. It would be great.
Suddenly Alabama goes down. Suddenly Georgia goes down. Suddenly, I'm talking about in history, times that the Gamecocks have upset other teams. Suddenly Clemson goes down.
You took a little much joy in that, didn't you?
I could not convey the joy.
I'm not saying it is impossible. I'm just saying it's wildly improbable. But can you continue looking at the rest of what Georgia has? They're at Vandy before the break. They got Florida in Jacksonville, the butthole of America. They're going to win that game. They got Mizzou coming to the house. Eli Drinkwitz is going to be on the hot seat at Mizzou at the end of this year. We're going to talk about that later in the show and throughout the week. If there is danger at the end of the season, it is back-to-backers at home against Ole Miss and on the road at Tennessee. That game at Neyland only becomes a big game if Tennessee makes it to that point and has not fallen yet, has not tripped up. I'm not convinced that the University of Tennessee is not going to eat a couple of L's midseason. They're good, but they lost their top receiver. They lost their quarterback, and I don't see how you think you're just going to pop in a replacement. Now, again, I've been told by a lot of people, Joe Milton is that dog. I don't know. We're going to find out. We're going to find out. But until he shows me he is, I can't assume that he is. They're at Georgia Tech, and then they've got probably Alabama, though I'm going to tell you. And in fact, I coming up this afternoon, I'm going to be doing a couple of hours of fill-in on the Daily Tip with PJ Glasser on the BetQL network. And we're putting together our show in real time. And they just sent me, they said, hey, what are your long shot picks? What are your sleeper picks this year in college football? And I said LSU to win the SEC West and LSU to potentially steal the SEC from Georgia, right? Because every year, what do we talk about with the teams coming out of the ACC and the Big Ten? Every year we say, oh, they're not battle tested like the teams in the SEC. They haven't played week in, week out competition like the teams in the SEC. Well, I got news for you. With the exception of Tennessee, Georgia's schedule doesn't really set them up to be battle tested, right? They will have not got, no matter who they get in the SEC championship game, LSU or Alabama, they will not have played a team like them in the regular season at all. It's not a disrespect to South Carolina, Kentucky, Ole Miss, Tennessee, but I don't see Tennessee being what Tennessee was last year. And there's not an Alabama or an LSU elsewhere on that schedule, right? So that kind of lends me to think, all right, I look at a team like an LSU, that has a, I don't want to say dramatically more difficult schedule, but dramatically more difficult schedule. LSU has got FSU out of the gate. They are at Mississippi State. They are at Ole Miss. They've got at Bama, back home for Florida, and then taking on Texas A&M at the end of the year. It's a little bit better. They will have a more competitive front-end to back-end schedule than Georgia. I would not be shocked to see either LSU or Alabama shock Georgia and steal the SEC. The only problem with that is Georgia's still going to the playoff, if that is the case, because they will be 12-0. That's not a question. That's not a statement, or that's a statement. As the wise man once said, that's not a prediction. That's a spoiler. So the only loss Georgia will take would be in the SEC championship game, which means that they will be in the playoff, likely alongside the SEC champion, Bama or LSU. And if that turns out to be the case, the SEC is getting 2 in, right? Because I think LSU and Alabama both have a regular season loss coming, right? They might have 2, which is the best hope if you are the ACC champion or the ACC runner-up. I really do think, I pointed this out before, I think the ACC ends up with 2 12-1 teams. I think Florida State Clemson could split 1-1 and do so in the regular season and in the ACC championship game. And if they are both 12-1, and there are 2 12-1 SEC programs, right? Which I think is a realistic possibility. And there are actually, you know what? I'm glad I said all that, Lonzo, because I just worked into my head. If the ACC has 2 12-1 programs, the SEC has 2 12-1 programs, and the Big Ten has 2 12-1 programs, what the hell do we do? Is it just the conference champions?
Champs go in. Yeah. I mean, that's the best. That's the best way to do it. And if there's a committee, and not get a bunch of flack about it.
Yeah. I don't know, man. That's interesting. Kevin says, Rob, didn't you pick Tennessee to beat the Gamecocks last year? Yeah. You know who else did? Everybody that wasn't playing up the Gamecock homerism was picking Tennessee. Sorry.
I don't recall what I picked, but I'm guessing I probably picked the Gamecocks. But you're right. The homer thing probably. All right. It does come into play with me. What
100%.
can I say?
So I don't know. That's interesting. Let's do this. Let's run.
And the fact that I don't believe that Tennessee's been up and coming for like 35 years now.
I mean, dude, top 5 team last season.
It's a daggum year. Rock Top. Woo.
They going down, Rocky Top. I don't know actually how that song goes. At this point, I just refuse to look it up. Something, corn on Rocket Top, and my whiskey's in a jar.
Yeah, I don't think there's corn anywhere in the song. I could be
I
wrong.
am 99% sure there's corn in that song.
Really? You're
Yeah.
99%.
Now I am gonna look it up.
Yeah, and you're going to be wrong.
No, you just let that music roll at this point.
It's a long bet. We got a minute 44.
All right, good. I thought it was something about like the corn don't grow up on Rocky Top.
No.
Are you sure?
I'm 99% sure that you're wrong. You're wrong. Yeah.
Strangers ain't come down from Rocky Top. Reckon they put corn won't grow it all on Rocky Top.
Oh, look at
It's
you.
too rocky by far. That's why all the folks on Rocky Top get their corn from a jar.
All right. By
I
the
knew
way,
there was some corn on Rocky Top.
by the way, so he knows the song and I don't.
I don't know the song. I just knew there was corn in it.
Wow.
Some
Wow.
corn on Rocky Top.
Wow. I lost that one. I feel really bad.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Take that, great one. I bet you get your corn from a jar.
Well,
I get my corn from it. I don't grow corn.
I say can. I've had it from a, sometimes people will go out and they'll eat corn right out of the cob. I mean, they'll just,
Corn on the cob. It's very
no.
popular.
I mean, eat raw corn
Just
from the
out the
field.
field?
Yeah.
Well, it ain't from Rocky Top because corn don't grow on Rocky Top.
I think that's a lie.
Back after this on the Rob Brown Show. Oh, what a corny segment. It's the Fan Upstate.
Look at you. You're a Rocky Top expert and I'm not. Are you proud?
Very.
I know. What's that, Kevin? I don't know what that is. I know, right, James? Corn like grows in the field.
You know where it don't grow? Rocky Top, you will always be.
Lonzo puts his head down in shame and leaves the room.
Yeah. I'm a Rocky Top expert, boys.
I'm not really ashamed.
Do they got corn up in Kentucky? Because they don't on Rocky Top. 30 seconds, guys.
Thanks, kids. You're finally worth it. Straight Talk Wireless. Available at Walmart.
Get 4 lines on Silver Unlimited for $25.
That a boy, Trey.
Now you got that song stuck in my head.
Dang on dong, but dang dong, ding a dong, 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 dig a dong, dong.
You can hope the right person comes along, or you can just use ZipRecruiter. And now you can try.
Right time, you always be, hold me. Yeah, right now,
Woo!
right now, in the
That was surprisingly good bluegrass vocals.
All right, so country's easy. Bluegrass is not. I'm not gonna. I mean, bluegrass is complicated. I haven't figured out why we're blurry back there, but I'm okay with
Hey,
it.
are you guys watching on the stream? Are we blurry, or is it just our TV?
Thank you very much.
And on dong, Rocky Top. And Rocky Top's in Tennessee.
It is supposedly, but I don't know where at in Tennessee. It's like all mountains in Tennessee, Rocky Tops. No, because I've driven through them. They're
Rocky
not.
Top, you're in Tennessee. Rocky Top, Tennessee. It's a Rocky Top, and it's in Tennessee. Them's the lyrics right there.
It might as well be.
Rocky Tops in Tennessee.
Thank you for the update. It is just our TV. It's
It
probably
is,
the Wi-Fi is messed up over there. Would be my guess. It could be. It could be, Stephen. Not for me though. I think if you're drinking something out of a mason jar and you didn't see it prepared, you're probably taking a big risk.
If anybody serves me something in a mason jar, I trust them implicitly.
See, that's what I
do.
said.
You hand me
This is-
anything with a mason jar, I bet it's going to be amazing.
you don't look at the color and go, that's kind of dark. Moonshine's supposed to be clear, right?
Dang on down to dang dong Rocky Top.
I've seen some people partake in the moonshine and their eyes instantly get red. It's wild. It's usually, are you okay? Uh-huh. Okay. All right. Okay, Kevin. I don't know if you speak from experience on that, but I mean, that would be a no.
Lonzo v. Kev, the rivalry that will never die.
Let's hope not. We're having too much fun, I think.
You guys are the Flair Roads of local radio.
I'm going to run into them in Lawrence County, and we're just going to look at each other and then walk away. That's how it's going to be, a stare down. Don't hit me, Kevin. I'm fragile.
Ding on, ding, dong, dong, Rocky Top, ding dong, but dong, wrong.
You got that in everyone's head. Everyone who's listening right now is going to hate you because of that.
Rocky Top's in Tennessee. It's in Tennessee. Good old Rocky Top. Rocky Top's in Tennessee. Woo! Rocky Top's in Tennessee. That's how it goes. That's the lyrics.
I started looking up the song, and I figured, what the heck am I doing? I don't want to hear this actual song.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's get some more stuff in here, shall we? We talked a little bit about the Georgia three-peat, one of the storylines I'm keeping an eye on in college football as we are finally here-ish. It's week 0. Let's go. Can't wait.
I keep wanting to do the zero marathon, but I'm not real sure what that means. So
it means no fear.
Is that what?
In Spanish,
so
yes.
It doesn't mean zero.
Yeah, cero.
Oh, zero as in none. Okay, all right.
No fear.
Thank you. Took me a,
Get you there.
Are you looking it up just to make sure?
No, I know.
Okay,
No, I know
okay,
what it means.
all right.
I wanted to know exactly how to spell it. M-I-E-D-O. Cero miedo means no fear in Spanish.
All right, cool.
Yeah. I only know
By
that
the
because
way-
I went to the first fight for the Fallen Down in Jacksonville. It was the first time I'd ever seen the Lucha Brothers, and everybody kept doing that. And I looked it up that night to see what it meant because I'm like, if I go start chanting this around around town.
Yeah, we should adopt that as our show motto.
Cero miedo. I like it. Storyline number 2 I'm keeping an eye on in college football. The conference realignment spectacle. Not realignment itself, but more along the lines of, hey, let me ask you this. If I honestly, I've been struggling to come up with a metaphor for this, right? But how do the conferences celebrate the conferences, knowing that next year the conferences won't be the conferences, right? If you are, let's say, hypothetically, of the Big 12, here's Texas and Oklahoma. Woo, Bomber Sooner. Texas and Oklahoma are leaving you at the end of the year. They are moving over to the Southeastern Conference. You guys may or may not have heard that. It's been kind of glossed over by most major media outlets. So they're leaving you. They gone.
One last run, man. I mean, it's kind of the farewell tour. It's not retirement, but it's kind of, you're retiring from that conference.
Would it be great one if I was the Big 12. Would it be petty of me to like not only not celebrate Texas and Oklahoma, not wish them a fond farewell, but to actively promote and celebrate every team that they're playing? Like, do I want Texas and Oklahoma to get ransacked by everybody else in the Big 12 on their way out the door? To do whatever I can to stack the deck against them every week? I don't know what they can do to make that happen. But I kind of wonder, like, what's the focus of the conference when you know these teams are leaving?
Like, if let's go to the romantic analogy, because it seems to be popular on the station. You know that someone's leaving you, so you put a bunch of rocks in all their bags, so as they have to carry it out. Everything's like twice as heavy.
Let the air out of their tires.
Yeah, I mean, well, no, you want them to leave, so you probably don't want to do that. But still, you make things.
If you want them to, it just doesn't matter if you do or don't.
Yeah, you want them to leave, but you want it to be difficult. I get on their way out, or you promote the conference without them in it, even though they're in it that year, and just constantly, throw up commercials and things of who's left in the conference and never mention them.
I don't know.
And,
then there's
and don't pay them. Yeah, you leave. They can't do that, but you could try.
And then there's the Pac-12, where everybody's leaving. Colorado's gone, Arizona's gone, Arizona State is gone, Utah is gone.
The four
Oregon's
horsemen
gone.
of the Pac-12 are left.
The four horsemen of the apocalypse.
There we go.
What do you do if you're the Pac-12? Like, I don't want to have my dude out there waving the Pac-12 banner when it's like, nope. Like, you're dead. Beep, beep, beep. You flatlined, Pac-12. You're done. I mean, even if you do bring in the Mountain West Conference teams, it's not gonna matter.
Yeah, but do you, I was going to say, do you let any of the teams that are leaving win the championship? Just automatically make it where none of them can win. You're leaving, so you cannot partake in the championship game.
I mean, I don't think you can, right?
Why can't you?
But what I think you can do is promote and try to make every admission you can
Instruct
the four.
Instruct the referees to pretend like that's an away conference game every time you play them, and make sure that you go on the side of the four that are left.
I don't know how you do it. Like, you can't. I mean, hey, Stripes, hey, ref. I'm just saying, if there happened to be be a real shame if there was a couple extra holding penalties against the Ducks. You know what I'm saying? Just make sure the Trojans get screwed. You know what I'm saying? I know I was going to go way worse than that, and I decided to hold off on it, Lonzo.
Kevin's going to have a field day on what you just said.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know if you're a conference legend, and by legend I mean you're gone. You're only in the history books after this year. I don't know how the conference is like. Is it just business as usual?
I guess that's what you have to do. I mean, because you don't want to look bad, especially if you're trying to keep the conference a conference and invite other people in. If you're ill treating the people on their way out, you're not going to be able to get people to come in.
That was my thought.
Yeah,
that was my thought. Right when I left Jacksonville, and the succubus that took my soul down there, and I talked a bunch of smack. I had people going, Rob, don't talk bad about her, because if you do and people see it, and like if somebody else gets interested in the future and they hear you talking about her, then they're going to go, well, how's he going to treat me if I leave? And I was like, I don't care.
By the way, if you don't know what a succubus is, don't look it up on your work computer.
The worst. Anyway, that's a Parks and Recs reference. Yeah, so I don't know. Like, do you just act like it's business as usual? Like, we're really happy for these schools that they found a better place for that, and we're just gonna work on ourselves for a little while.
Or just go Belichick. We're moving on to the schools that are in the conference, and if you have any questions about the schools that are in the conference, we'll take those. If not, I guess we're done here.
Yeah. How do you? do you handle it? I don't know. I'm interested in that. I'm interested to see how the colleges handle this. All right. Next hour of the show. You know, there's not much that I love more, Lonzo, than starting my week off with just the mildest sprinkle of existentialism, right? Just the mildest sprinkle of depression, just a little bit off the top to bring us all down so we can always be ramping up to Friday.
Yeah, I don't have depth like that. I don't need, that sort of thing.
I had a conversation on Saturday during the nation's #1 baseball gambling show, Bet for the Cycle, which airs every Saturday from noon to 4 on the BetQL network. I had a conversation on Saturday with my dude, Cody Decker. And it walked me into a thought that made me very sad, nervous, apprehensive, whatever you want to call it. And since I felt that way for like 2-3 hours on Saturday, I want to make all you feel that way too, because I'm a giver. So when we come back, I am going to say this and it's going to sound like I'm exaggerating, and I swear to you I'm not. There is, and I mean this, a bona fide threat to the sports leagues in America. And when I say that, I mean the NFL, MLB, the NBA, that I really, truly, honestly do think could begin to threaten our dominance over the professional sports landscape of the world. I'm going to tell you what that threat is when we come back. My name is Rob Brown, the great one. Lonzo's at the helm. You're listening to The Rob Brown Show. You're listening to the Fan Upstate. Regenerative medicine uses concentrated agents from your own body to stimulate that damaged tissue in your joints so they can work like they're supposed to, and there's zero downtime. QC Kinetics is the nation's leader in this exciting medical breakthrough, and patients here are getting real lasting relief and are saying no to surgery and drugs. So if you have pain due to injury or arthritis, this is a remarkable opportunity that you need to check out, and the consultation is free. So call QC Kinetics now at 864-448-3772 in Greenville and Asheville. That's 864-448-3772.
Hey, Mike, what are you doing there? Staring at the ceiling.
Oh, hi, Jen. Come check out the energy-efficient lighting I just had installed for my business. It's saving me a ton on my electric bills. Plus, Duke Energy SmartPath paid for almost 75% of the total cost.
Wow, that's amazing. How'd you get them to do that?
It was easy. Just look up Duke Energy SmartPath program. Duke Energy can help cover the cost of energy-efficient upgrades for your business. Visit duke-energy.com/SmartPath today.
What's holding you back from learning the language you've always wanted to know?
Too hard.
Takes too long.
Not with Babbel. Babbel's lessons take just 15 minutes a day.
Introduced my granddaughter to It's the End of the World as We Know It yesterday.
The end of the world.
And see what you do with your head? You can't. I mean, you can't. So, yeah, she loved it. I don't know if it's good if she goes to kindergarten today and is singing the chorus, but yeah. That's a phone call her mom will have to deal with, not me. So there's that.
Learning a language with Babbel doesn't take long.
And with Babbel, it isn't hard.
It's perfect.
And now, try Babbel free at Babbel.com. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
Our oceans are true climate heroes. In fact, they've absorbed over 90% of all the excess heat trapped on Earth, but they can only take so much. Join Oceana to help protect our oceans at oceana.org/hero.
Discover credit cards automatically double all the cash back you earn at the end of your first year, which means, wait, hold up. Question for the audio engineer.
Go ahead.
Did I read that right? Discover automatically doubles all your cash back?
Yeah, that's what the script says.
So if I get a Discover card right now, I can earn twice the cash back.
Apparently. Wait. Unlimited first-year cashback match. Only from Discover. See terms and learn more at discover.com/match.
Do you have heart?
By the way, Blue Beetle wasn't bad. I mean, I just it was a little disappointing that we're in IMAX on a Friday night at 7:00, and the whole theater itself, there wasn't that many people there, period. But then I started thinking about it. It was week 0, so it was Friday night, so a lot of the kids are probably at football games, but I didn't see what it did as far as box office goes, but it wasn't bad. What's his name? The comedian. Why am I forgetting his name? That's in it.
George Lopez.
Yeah, he's a conspiracy guy. Nothing but conspiracies through the entire thing. It's great.
Spencer Rattler had a decision to make, and the hire of Dow wasn't just about this season, it's about long term. But I'm also not naive by wanting Spencer Rattler to come back as our quarterback, and he needed to feel good about this, and he did and does. And then since Dow's been here, he's been fantastic from a recruiting standpoint. He has been unbelievable, and you're seeing that already, the impact he's had on the recruiting trail and with our players as well.
Now I think I'm done with movies for a while. I think. I don't think Marvel's has been put off, and some other things have been put off. Well, it's football season now. Watch some daggum football.
Down a meme that says, I wish I could be the person I thought I could be when I bought all these guitar pedals. I've never been so personally injured before.
Well, you need all those pedals so you can program like one effect for each pedal, so you don't have to go and start pushing the button and go, no, and you go past it and you have to keep going back in.
The lead singer called me out there once because I used to have a big multi-effect pedal, and then I had like a reverb pedal and a feedback pedal, and he's like, this does all of that. I'm like, right, but then I have to like memorize where they all are. And away we go. Hour número dos of the Rob Brown Show starts right now. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. This is the Rob Brown Show. This is the Fan Upstate. Howdy. Y'all doing all right? I am Rob Brown. That guy over there, the sheriff of sports talk, the great one himself, Lonzo, is in the building as well. You want to be a part of the show? There's a bunch of ways that you can do it, frankly. 844-326-3663 is the phone number.
My cartwheel stopped working.
No. 844-326-3663.
I'll just say what I hit. Lonzo is a superstar. Anyway.
Lonzo is a superstar.
He sounds just like him.
Lonzo is a superstar.
Now you sound even more like him. Wow.
TheCarPros.com text line 71307, 71307. Start your text with FAN, F-A-N, FAN, and we'll read them on the air. You can post, tweet, threads us at The Rob Brown Show, at Lonzo on Word. If you want to come at us in that direction, you can do it. Uh-oh, great one lost his toy. That's problematic.
All right, I haven't left the room, so there's no way there was sabotage.
Sabotage. Okay. Let me put the jokes aside. And instead, let me try to make you as sad as I was on Saturday. Was doing the show Bet for the Cycle, the nation's premier baseball gambling show, alongside former MLBer Cody Decker on Saturday. And we were off the air between segments. During segments, they take us off the stream, and myself, Hayden Ass Mario, and Cody Decker can have conversations. And, you know, most people begin a conversation about what the next topic's going to be about, what points you want to bring up. Hey, when I get into this, don't interrupt me, yada, 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 whatever.
Wait, that's the thing?
For professional.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
We don't know anything about it.
I was a little scared there for a second.
Cody pointed out to me that there is something very interesting taking place in the Middle East right now, specifically in, shockingly, I know, Saudi Arabia and Dubai, the UAE, and the surrounding areas. There is a new league springing up in the world of baseball called Baseball United. Baseball United is a professional baseball league that is to be situated around the Middle East and South Asia. And early this morning, they announced their first franchise, the Mumbai Cobras. The Mumbai Cobras are going to be the first professional baseball team in the history of India and the entire South Asian region. The Cobras are the first of 4 teams that will be announced in the coming weeks, with the Dubai United Arab Emirates-based Baseball United poised to host a showcase tournament in November at Dubai International Stadium. The tournament will take place a year after Baseball United was first established. What do we know about Baseball United so far? Well, they have a player pool of more than 200 players from 30 different countries. Of those, 64 will be selected for the teams. The remaining players will be drafted in anticipation of the organization's inaugural season, which starts in the fall of 2024. Baseball United has said that within that 200-player pool are, quote, several players, end quote, from the United States who have committed to play in the league, though it has not announced any names so far. Cash Sheikh is the president and CEO of Baseball United.
Wait.
And yes,
Wait.
his name is Cash Sheikh.
Okay.
Yeah. He said, quote, Major League Baseball is over 150 years old and has so much romance and pageantry. And you know, it's one of the few American sports that have yet to be exported to this part of the world, end quote. And this is very interesting, not because of the fact that Baseball United is starting up. It is interesting to me who's involved. Mariano Rivera is involved. You may have heard of Mariano Rivera, one of the greatest closers in the history of Major League Baseball. Barry Larkin is involved. Barry Larkin, one of the best shortstops in Major League Baseball. Barry Larkin played in the show for almost 20 years. He is now involved in Baseball United. There are other corporate entities who may or may not get involved. The UAE has already got ties with Disney. Disney Plus was the home of the last major tournament outside of international play for cricket. They've already got ties with UAE. According to Forbes magazine, the Mumbai Indians are the most valuable franchise in the Indian Premier League. They have an estimated worth of $1.3 billion.
Nope.
That is about half of the average value of MLB teams, which is currently sitting at about $2.32 billion as it stands right now. So this is very interesting to me because you've got a league that is funded by oil money in the Middle East. Now, let's kick back about a year. About a year and a half. About a year and a half ago, it was announced that there was going to be a Saudi-backed golf league called the Live Tour. And when the Live Tour took off, I said I was concerned about it. I was concerned about the Live Tour for the same reason that I do not like playing video games against people who pay the microtransactions. They have a leg up because they have cheat codes turned on, all right? The Saudis are backed by oil money. Money is not real to them, right? It's just not real. So when they want to pay, let's say, hypothetically, Cristiano Ronaldo $1 billion to come play soccer in the Middle East, they can do it. When they want to offer Leo Messi $1 billion to come play soccer in the Middle East, they can do it. When they want to offer Tiger Woods $1 billion to play golf on the Live Tour, they can do it. Now, this is what I told Decker. This was a warning shot to me in golf and soccer. But I know that golf and soccer are backseat sports in the United States, right? Golf and soccer are just sports that don't have giant audiences. So nobody's really paying attention to them. But when the Live Tour cropped up, I said, keep an eye on this. It's a red flag. Because if the Saudis are getting involved and they have the unlimited money cheat code turned on, at the end of the day, sticking enough zeros on a paycheck can make anybody do anything. As the $1 Million Man once said, everybody's got a price. And we saw that. We saw names like DJ jump over to the Live Tour. And it was all about the money. And I'm not mad at him for it, for the record. I've told you guys how many times. I do not like the Live Tour. I don't like the Live Tour. I don't like how it's played. I don't like what it stands for. And if I got a phone call at the end of the show that said, Rob Brown, we'd like to offer you $5 million a year to become the next play-by-play guy for the Live Tour, y'all, I am gone with a capital G. I'm out. Because that much money would change the life of me and everyone that I know. Scratch that. Everyone that I like. So I'd have to take it, right? And golfers are no different. Just because you have $1 million does not mean that $1 million is not a life-changing amount of money still. Just because you have 50 million doesn't mean another 50 isn't a life-changing amount of money still. So I thought that was a red flag. And then the soccer stuff started up with Ronaldo, with Messi, with Kylian Mbappe. Guys getting offered $1 billion contracts to go play soccer out in the UAE, out in Saudi Arabia, etc. And now it gets interesting. And here's why it gets interesting. The Saudis want to own sports. That much is clear. And the only thing that allows people to own anything is money and labor. Those are the two elements, right? So the Saudis said, well, the PGA is not going to just sell us their product. So what do? They started buying out the labor, right? They started buying out the employees, the golfers, and bringing them over. The Saudis said, we can buy some individual teams around Bundesliga and Premier League and all that, but we can't own the product. So what have they now started to do? They've started to throw multiple zeros on the back end of contracts to the world's biggest soccer players and bring them there. It was a massive help that Leo Messi decided to come play for Inter Miami. And frankly, I think if he wasn't buddy-buddy with Bex, it wouldn't have mattered. Here's why it matters to you, even if you're not a soccer fan, even if you're not a golf fan. There is a rumor floating around right now. And I have not confirmed it via multiple sources, so I'm a little hesitant to talk about it, but I did see it, and Keegan brought it up in the chat a little while ago. There's a rumor going around right now that there is a professional Saudi basketball league on the brink of offering James Harden a $900 million contract to come play shooty hoops on the hardwoods of the Middle East.
All right, let's be honest here. You're okay with that, right?
Am I okay with James Harden going away?
Yes. That's what I wanted to say.
Yes. However,
Well, can the Saudis keep him happy?
it doesn't matter, because here's what it does. It opens the door. It opens the door for the next round of contracts. And let's talk about this. What was the big offseason story in the NBA? Victor Wembanyama, right? A 7'2" power forward who can shoot the three, dribble, drive, even with his gigantic ass, and score from anywhere. No, by the way, he's going to get you 12, 13, 14 boards a game. And it was, does San Antonio draft them? Does somebody put together the biggest package of all time to jump to number one and get him? Yada, yada, yada. Now imagine if Victor Wembanyama was to get Victor Wembanyama making, Lonzo, $12.2 million as a rookie. That contract will escalate to $16.9 million in 2026-2027. Now, these contracts, these numbers are structured these structures are based the way they are on the collective bargaining agreements between the NBA PA and the NBA itself. That doesn't exist for the Saudi Professional League. So what if Victor Wembanyama, a European superstar, he's French, by the way, what if Victor Wembanyama got a little email from the chairman of the Saudi League that said, hey, Vic, instead of going to play for Popovich in the stodgy old NBA, what do you say you come play your ball in Saudi Arabia and we'll give you $150 million for your first 2 years and $500 million for your next 5 years after that? I got to tell you, even though the NBA is the pinnacle of basketball across the world, $500 million is a lot more than 16.7.
See, I don't know. I think if this becomes a thing, we're going to find out who wants the money, who wants the fame. You want the money, you go over there. You want the fame, you stay here. You're still going to get decent money. You're not going to get that kind of money that you go over there, but you're not going to get that kind of fame if you go over there, at least not early on until it becomes competitive with the NBA. And European leagues have existed for a really long time. Are any of them competitive with the NBA? No. And this won't be either. So if you want more money, go over there.
Yeah,
if you want money and fame, you stay here.
The European leagues are not competitive for the same reason that college basketball, with the exception of March Madness, doesn't turn in the same regular season numbers as college football, because we as fans have decided this is the thing we do.
Yeah, but if the European League wasn't competitive as far as players goes, if you remove all the all the European players out of the NBA, what's the NBA look like right now? Because a lot of those guys come over here, they're polished and ready to go because they're playing over there.
Sure. So I think when it comes to the Saudis, my fear is you're going to have a situation very similar to the Live Tour. When the Live Tour kicked up, it was easy to joke about it, right? It was easy to go, this is dumb. And you had a bunch of guys like Rory McIlroy, Tiger Woods, Jon Rahm. You had a bunch of guys that stayed with the PGA Tour. You had a bunch of guys that stuck around and said, no, we're not going over. And I think the NBA would have the same, right? I think you'd have a lot of guys in the league that went, I don't care how much money they pay me. I make plenty of money here. I'm staying in the association. But you'd have a lot of guys that don't, and B, your pipeline of great rookie players would shrink dramatically. Because while vets of the league, guys like LeBron, who, by the way, if Tiger was offered a bill to come play golf for the Saudis, you don't think the Saudis are willing to throw a bill at LeBron or Kevin Durant or any of those top tier NBAers, specifically the popular ones? Of course they will. They'd be more than willing to throw a bill at those guys, because if LeBron goes over, you know what goes with him? About 33% of the basketball watching eyes in America. That's not to say they still won't watch the NBA, but they're also going to be paying attention to the Saudi League. And if the Saudi League can start getting that much attention now, and oh, by the way, they are offering contracts that are 2 or 3 times the size of NBA contracts. Now, all of a sudden, again, and I don't blame them. Because like I said earlier, if the Live Tour called me tomorrow and said, we want you to come be the lead play-by-play guy on the Live Tour and we'll give you $5 million a year, y'all will never see or hear from me again. I'd send Lonzo a check for $500,000. I'd send everybody at this building a check for $500,000, and I'd be gone.
Come on. Now, you don't need to send anybody else any. All that you were going to give to them, give to me.
That's fair.
I mean,
I'll say, you know what? I'll send Lonzo a check for $1 million and say, distribute this as you see fit. All right.
Yeah, I see fit to put it in my bank account. Also, bye, everybody.
I'd be gone, right?
So you give me $1 million, I'm gone too.
Yeah, for sure. Ladies and gentlemen, the Rob Brown Show has been unexpectedly canceled because Rob and Lonzo didn't show up for work. I don't know where the hell they are. Anyway, Joey B just popped up. He said it won't work for several reasons, but the main one being these leagues lack authenticity. There's no history and no connection from the fans to the teams, making you completely star player dependent. I don't disagree with that, Joe. The problem is they've got the money to be star player dependent until that connection forms, right? Just like the Live Tour. The Live Tour wasn't a thing until it was. And we went, there's no connection. Golf, PGA has been around for 1,000 damn years. But the Live Tour now owns the PGA. And I know that's not the verbiage they want to use, but let's call a spade a spade. The Live Tour owns the PGA, or at least a massive chunk of it at this point. They did it without the history, without the connection to the fans. It didn't matter because at the end of the day, the world we live in is entirely financially driven. It just is. It just is. We have the resources to end world hunger, but we don't do it. You know why? Because it would take too much money out of certain people's pockets. We have the ability to stop disease. You know why we don't do it? There's too much money involved, right? At the end of the day, it is the only driving factor that matters. Goodwill and ambassadorship, and that's all well and good. And we all like to feel all warm and fuzzy about it. But if the Saudis are willing to throw billions and billions and billions of combined dollars at players, they can start moving guys over. Dubai Baseball United is now underway. And they have connections because Mariano Rivera is involved in this. That is an enormous name. Barry Larkin, Cincinnati Reds legend, is involved in this. And they're not the only former MLBers, right? So now they have a baseball league that has that funding of billions of dollars. Oh, and by the way, here's a good argument for the whole startup side. You know what being a startup allows you to do? It allows you to create the rules as you go, right? NBA, MLB, they are locked in collective bargaining agreements with their players. These brand new organizations aren't, which means they can just do whatever they want. And for them, there's no benefit to the NBA overpaying NBA players. There's no benefit to MLB overpaying, or at least there never has been, overpaying MLB players. There's a huge benefit for the Saudis to offer billion-dollar contracts. If somebody offered James Harden a $900 million contract to come play basketball in Saudi Arabia, he'd be nuts not to take it if the finances are your driving motivation, right? Well, no Americans will see me play. I got 900 million reasons not to care. So I said when the Live Tour popped up, I genuinely thought this was a threat, but it took a back seat because it's golf, and who cares about golf, right? When the Saudis started trying to buy Leo Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo and Kylian Mbappe, I was like, uh-oh. Then when they bought Cristiano Ronaldo, I was like, keep an eye on this. It's a red flag, but it took a back seat because it's soccer, right? Well, now one of America's big three has a competitive league coming up against it, and that is Baseball United. And I promise you this basketball league is not going to be far behind it if they have decided to go in on buying current NBA superstars. after the rant James Harden went on last week, where he said Daryl Morey, who is the president of the 76ers, is a liar, and I will never play for an organization that employs him ever again. He went ahead and put on his metaphorical fat suit and said, I'm disgruntled. I don't want to be here anymore. And somebody in Saudi Arabia, if this story is true, if this rumor is true, has pounced on James Harden, is going to make a run at Harden. If he was to sign, the floodgates are open. So, you have multiple leagues for whom money is no object, throwing $1 billion at some of the biggest names in sports that they're trying to take over. You have the success of the Live Tour effectively getting an ownership stake in professional golf as a whole. That play worked. The Live Tour play worked. The blueprint is laid down. And now it feels like the Middle Eastern leagues are turning their eyes towards the bigger leagues in the United States. Major League Baseball, potentially the NBA. Major League Baseball has been the premier baseball organization in America. But let me ask you this. If you're a fifth-year player for whatever local team, you're a AAA ball player, you're a high A ball player, and you've bounced on and off MLB rosters, right? Cody Decker, you're Cody Decker. Decker was bouncing on and off MLB rosters because of depth issues his whole career. Do you think if a guy like Cody Decker got a call from the Saudis that said, hey, we want to pay you $5 million a year to come play a season here, he said he'd take that deal today, he'd have taken it as a minor leaguer. Well, now the farm system's getting kicked out from under you, and that also means they're likely going to find potential future stars before you do. The only thing baseball would have going for it is a better long-term developmental program. But if the Saudis can build that with the unlimited money cheat code turned on, you're in trouble there too. American sports, I'm being very serious now. This is not like haha funny playful Rob right now. American sports are under the biggest attack they have ever been under as a collective. The Middle Eastern leagues want to buy sports. They did it with the Live Tour successfully. They're coming for baseball next, and don't be shocked if basketball is soon to follow. I don't know how to stop it either, because money wins every time. Back after this on the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate.
So there's this button on the keyboard that I didn't notice that mutes your audio.
Okay.
Which normally are like higher on the keyboard, but it's like right here.
Aha. So the actual computer was muted.
So I hit a button that muted the computer, and both engineers came in and found out that I hit a button
That's the worst.
Yeah.
I was trying to figure out.
That's why I looked the way I looked.
I was trying to figure out why you went head down, and that makes perfect sense. That's a wonderful reason for that.
It's pretty embarrassing.
Yeah.
But they got to put in a ticket on it. Good for them. I mean, this is why all keyboards should be standard, that certain buttons are in certain places. I put my head down in shame.
Kyle was up second as quarterback, 9 out of 13 for 71 yards. Jake Luton, a nice 20-yard touchdown pass to Gary Jennings in the fourth quarter. 4 wide, Luton in the gun. Giants bring pressure. Luton pumps it as he throws it. Going downfield for Jennings. Jump ball. Can he hold on? He did. Jennings makes the catch in the right corner of the end zone. Jai Smith, 4 catches, 59 yards to lead Panthers receivers, while Raheem Blackshear had 31 yards rushing. Panthers will close out the preseason at home against Detroit next Friday. I'm Jim Zoki on the Carolina Panthers Radio Network, presented by Forrest Jenkins.
I'm just a quick with BetQL. It's time to finalize those college football win totals. The Kentucky Wildcats lost Will Levis to the Tracks, and their win total sits at a dismal 6.5. But they picked up stud NC State transfer Devin Leary and bring back their top 3 receivers and nearly all their starters on D. Their non-con schedule should get them 4 wins, so they only need 3 conference victories to cash that ticket. I'm Tristan Crick, helping you beat the books and bet smarter with BetQL. Download the BetMGM app today.
You've been putting back a few. And a few becomes a few too many. For a moment, you think
I'm gonna address all these points when we come back, guys. I'm not ignoring them in the chat, I promise.
that could happen.
But I am gonna address them when we come back.
Your insurance goes up. You lose your license. You total your car. You kill someone. The results of driving drunk are tragic. That's why law enforcement is out there looking for impaired drivers to save lives. So if you think you're okay to drive after a few drinks, think again. Drive sober or get pulled over.
Next up, how many days until Friday? Well, one coworker has it figured out. But first, the latest on a meatball shortage that could have been avoided by using Easy Cater.
I'm at the buffet where the meatballs are dwindling, while Caprese salad supplies remain strong. Sources say the garlic bread is long gone. Newsflash, it's hard to order the right amount of food, but at Easy Cater, we make hard easy. With catering experts ready to help 24/7. Order from over 100,000 restaurants at easycater.com.
If you're like me and want fun, and savings all in one in your final weeks of summer shopping, you've got to hurry to Kohl's. I just checked out their biggest clearance event of the season and was able to save up to 85% plus an extra 50% on sunny day essentials for the
So,
beach, backyard, and beyond.
Where do these
So
shorter
what are you
head
waiting
smudges
for?
come from?
Head to Kohl's and bring home the coolest finds for the hottest deals. You'll thank
Can you
me
see them
later.
from there?
Select styles offer.
I mean, it's breezy in that.
Yeah.
Where do the shorter ones
Yeah.
come from?
People who suffer from
Diesel?
arthritis are
I
getting
mean-
real pain relief. with
Stone
the
man
same
coming in to lick the window.
No, that's just all for him.
Success rate is there, and there's no better way to treat yourself when it comes to dealing with pain.
Meet Tyler Bale.
I mean, these up here, those are probably
Says They
you.
can't cure arthritis, but they can
I
treat
think it'd
pain.
be me
If you
too.
think of
I don't particularly, or frequently, I should say, rest my head on windows.
Eventually, when the sand or the beach gets bad enough, we backfill that beach with sand so that we get generations of enjoyment with that beach.
Well, a
again.
couple
The
of
same
them here,
thing
so-
happens with your knee or your shoulder or your hip or your back. We want to backfill the problems that have happened to this point. I'm not stopping the tide, so I'm not stopping the arthritis, but I want to get generations of enjoyment out of those joints again.
Call QC Kinetics now for your free consultation. Learn more about how restorative biologic therapies can get you real and lasting joint pain relief.
Call QC Kinetics, 864-448-3772. That's 864-448-3772. 864-448-3772.
This is Matt Spiegel of 670 The Score in Chicago, and my podcast, The PvP, Voices of Baseball, is all about the art and craft of play-by-play. Catch up on episodes with Joe Davis, Joe Buck, and many more. Then something crazy happened along the way. I did a weekend of Cubs-Cardinals on the radio, so now conversations are enriched with feedback and advice from Jason Benetti, Boog Shambi, and others to come. The PvP, Voices of Baseball. I bring you the people who bring you the game. Listen on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Sponsored by Blindster.com.
Hi, I'm Kyle at Blindster.com. If you're like many people, you may think custom blinds is a job for expensive professionals. Well, at Blindster, if you have a tape measure and a screwdriver, you can install our custom blinds and save big. Plus, we guarantee they'll fit. Blindster.com.
The nationally ranked Furman Paladins opened the 2023 season on Thursday night, August 31st at Paladins.
We have our windows are the outside pane is like this, and there's an inside pane that's like this, and people don't realize it, so they hit their head on the glass. But the majority of us are pretty tall that come in and work on the station. There's just some shorter ones that I don't understand where they came from. And yeah, someone should clean the windows. I ain't doing it though.
show rolls on. It is the Fan Upstate. Rob, Lonzo, you. 844-326-3663. I am sincerely curious about y'all's thoughts on this Baseball United thing, about the rumored contract to James Harden.
I would like to give you my opinion, and it's
Yes, please.
It's that I don't care, and I know I probably should. If it was football, it would be different for me. And I know you're kind of leading into this as a precursor to them probably getting football over there, but football doesn't work over there, at least not yet. I know there's like football in Japan and some other places, but it's not as big as it is here. If they start bringing football over there, then I'm concerned.
So one of the logical fallacies that I try to keep in mind when having a discussion with people is the slippery slope fallacy, right?
When it affects me, then I'm concerned. But for now, because my fandom, I love the NBA, but so far we're only talking about losing James Harden, and I'm okay with that. So, if some big names go over there, that's different.
Well,
if they start taking the European names like Doncic and guys like that, instead of them coming over here, they're going over there, then it still doesn't bother me because we've never seen them. So we don't know if they were any good or not. The only way we find out is when they come to the NBA. I think it's the same sort of thing. You can watch clips, things like that. You'll look and go, yeah, but the competition is not the same. Golf is totally different because golf is just you. It's not you against other people. There's a team around these people in basketball. And if it's not a good team, you're going to go, yeah, that's just not a good team. That wouldn't fly over here. And it might as well be the minor league, the G League over there.
All right. So a couple of thoughts. I would start with, like I said, I do my best. I do my best to avoid the slippery slope theory. That is to say, if A, then B, if B, then C, if C, then D, if D, then E, if E, then F.
But see, that's you taking the high ground. Most people don't do that.
No, I don't think it's taking a high ground. I think we have an illustration.
I don't believe most people have that thought process. It's more like what I said. I'm not into that much, so I don't care.
Right,
and I realize it could lead to something else, but I think for the most part, it's like, yeah, whatever. You want to go there, go ahead.
All right, so let me finish where I'm going because I think it might play into that. When the Live Tour started, and the concept was announced and the funding was announced and the source was announced and the leadership was announced, I think everybody was like, who cares, right? Like, who's going to be on this? We have the PGA Tour. Who cares? Who's going to be on this? And then some names started to trickle over, some big names. A couple, Dustin Johnson ended up on the Live Tour. And it was like, all right, yeah, like, cool. Like, you got a guy. So what? And then Phil Mickelson ended up going over to the Live Tour. And I was like, all right, you got a couple of, and then it was just every week another name got added to the Live Tour roster. And it was like, all right, but how are they gonna survive, right? Like, they don't have that much money to go around. And then it turned out that they were throwing out $100 million purses that were bigger than the PGA Tour purses on some of their biggest tournaments. And it was just always, well, I'm not worried about it because. And I was sitting here going, I am worried about it. Because if they can do this, the next step is, right? The concept of slippery slope is if A, then B, B, then C, C, then D, D, then E, E, then F. So A, and we should worry about F. But you got to prove to me that B and C and D and E are realistic possibilities. But I think that they did that. They worked their way from A to F. And every step I'm going, all right, we've done A, look out for B because B could lead to F. And then they did B, and it's like, all right, look out for C because C could lead to F. And then they did C, and the next thing you know, not only are we at F, but we moved on to a G I never saw coming, which is the Live Tour effectively financially strong-arming the PGA Tour into a merger that gives them like half the control over professional golf. And then I went, all right, well, can they do it in other sports? Just because they can do it in golf doesn't mean they could do it in other sports. Well, then they did it in soccer. Now, I'm not as wildly concerned about soccer because, let's be honest, American soccer, domestic league soccer, was not a top-tier sport in the United States. And I was like, all right, well, I'll be worried if they start taking players out of the Premier League. Lionel Messi, caught an offer of $1 billion to go play in the Saudi League. Now, we turned it down, but Cristiano Ronaldo did not. If Lionel Messi is not the biggest name in international football, Cristiano Ronaldo is. He went. Kylian Mbappe is catching contract offers of $1 billion. He might go. And it would not shock me to start seeing other names. Neymar's catching offers for $1 billion. That's another name. And if they build a conglomerate of the world's biggest footballers in Saudi Arabia, then the world's next tier is going to go too. And if all of a sudden some of the biggest names in the Premier League are jumping to Saudi, then everybody's on the table, right? Now, that might not impact America all that much because we're already way behind all of those other teams. We're not producing talent, and the ones we do are going over there anyway. So it might not matter, with the exception of how much more difficult does it become to build up American domestic football if every time we find a Christian Pulisic, they get picked up by the Saudis for $1 billion. All right? But it's just soccer, right? Who cares? Well, now there's baseball. And not only is Baseball United getting off the ground now, not only is Baseball United getting off the ground, but they have the blueprint right in front of them. The Live Tour showed you the way. The Live Tour told you how to kick the legs out from underneath organized American professional athletics. And granted, it's just golf. But all the PGA Tour is the NBA or the MLB of a much less popular sport domestically. Here's the thing. And I talked about this a minute ago, and Joey B popped in. He said, your point about minor leaguers is dead on. At least 50% of minor leaguers will be gone at the offer of a 7-figure check. Exactly. So let's say I'm going to pick a guy that played here locally to try to tie it into Greenville. Marcelo Meyer played his first round of minor league ball right here for the Drive. Marcelo Meyer is the number 1 prospect for the Boston Red Sox. If Marcelo Meyer got told, hey, look, here's the deal. You got to play in Greenville for a little while. Then we're going to send you to Portland, Maine for a little while. Then you're going to go to Salem for a little while. And maybe not, you make it to the Red Sox roster as a fill-in utility depth guy by the end of the season. It may be another year or two before we get you up. And then a team from Baseball United calls and goes, hey, Marcelo Meyer, if you come play your ball in Saudi Arabia, we'll pay you $1 million right now. And you're on the roster today. A lot of guys are taking that. Paul Skeens just got drafted. The fireballer from LSU got drafted by the Pirates. He gets brought up to Pittsburgh. He's been playing some minor league ball. In fact, I think he threw 1 start for their low-level club before he got promoted already. But if Paul Skeens comes out of college and a team out of Saudi Arabia goes, hey, Paul, how you feel about $3.5 million to come out here and start immediately for a Dubai-based team? I got to tell you, he might be gone, right? As opposed to working his way. I don't know. There's a lot of variables in this equation, but the point is, a lot of Cody Deckers would take those deals and go. And now all of a sudden, your developmental baseball leagues aren't as good. And if your developmental baseball leagues aren't as good, what is the one thing I said that makes MLB safer than most other sports? It's the developmental pipeline. So much goes into taking minor leaguers and turning them into big leaguers that nobody else on planet Earth in the world of baseball can match that. Japan can't, Korea can't, Europe can't. None of them can, right? But if you are able to pay half of MLB minor leaguers to come be major leaguers in Dubai and give them $1 million paycheck a pop to do it, they're gone. And now the developmental league doesn't have its most important tool. What is that? Other developmental guys to work out against. It's a big problem. And so if baseball's going down this path and the NBA is starting to see players get offered $900 million to come play, like James Harden. James Harden's not the James Harden he was 4, 5, 6 years ago, but he ain't a nobody, right? He's not a nobody. So if that offer's on the table and he takes it and kick rocks NBA, decides to go, who's to stop younger guys from following him, right? All right, so here's a couple of texts and tweets that have come in over the course of the segment and a half we did. Texter said, I got to go back and find the first half of this one. Texter said, Mr. Liber, any tweet that starts with Mr. Liberob is going to be great. Dear Mr. Liberob, this is where politics affect everything because we have environmentalists here that are so worried about our carbon footprint. We have to give up our amenities in the form of sports to the Saudis. Just wait. Football will be sooner than later. I mean, we already see there's no faithful sea slug Liberob. All right. I don't understand. Oh, no faithfulness to college school. So we're teaching our youths to chase that dollar. And you know who has excess dollars? Oil tycoons in Saudi Arabia. But save that sea slug, Liberob. All right, first off, I love that you're going to stack. We are teaching college kids to name me one industry that isn't chasing the bag. Wait. I'll wait. Go ahead, Texter. Name me one facet in America that doesn't teach you to chase the bag. I'm waiting. Just one. Any one industry that's primary goal isn't profit. Still waiting. Yeah, that's what I thought. Guys, we've been teaching get the bag to every kid for a very long time. Isn't that the American dream? Chase the bag, get that money, and live your life the way you want. Now they're just other bags. And now there's bigger bags. That's kind of the problem. We'll come back to that later on. Texas said, I literally said once the Live Tour bought golf, how long will it be before they purchase another sport, essentially? That's from JD. JD, the answer is now. They're going to try it with baseball. And when you get names like Larkin and Rivera to back that effort, there's legitimacy to it. This is not outsiders coming in. These are MLB Hall of Famers in Larkin and Rivera that are back in this league, just like Phil with the Live Tour. It's the same blueprint, and it's working. Texas said, I've said before, this is how they devalue the dollar. Our entertainment is our number one export. I think there's probably some element to that. I would also say with there being some element to that, the other aspect is the sports washing. I don't think that's a joke. The Saudis are not good dudes. But if they can get us to go, ooh, Saudi baseball because they got a bunch of MLB, or Saudi basketball because James Harden and LeBron are there. Not that LeBron will go. I'm just using big-time names. Ooh, Saudi soccer, Neymar and Ronaldo were there. We stop talking about how bad of dudes that they are, right? All right, we got some more texts and tweets. We'll take a break from this segment because we got some more stuff that we're going to get into. We got to get into a few more college football storylines. Can Spencer Rattler be that dude for South Carolina? We'll talk about that, all of it. We are burning up the show on the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate. All right, guys, 45-second break. It's going to be longer than that, but I'm going to say that so you stick around. Be right back.
Eight 873-7171. Hey, Mike, I like the lights.
Oh, hey, Jen. Yeah, they're energy efficient and saving the business a ton on electric bills. I got them in the warehouse, too.
Nice.
And get this, Duke Energy Smart Path paid for almost 75% of the total cost.
Wow, Duke Energy. How'd you get them to do that?
It was easy. Just look up the Smart Path program.
Duke Energy can help cover the cost of energy-efficient upgrades for your business. Visit duke-energy.com/smartpath today.
I'm Mark Ryan. If you're like me, you're no interior decorator and you need a bit of help putting together an outfit. I'm beyond grateful I met my friends at Smith & James Fine Men's Clothing because they make me look like I know what I'm doing. They'll help you find the best color combinations with slacks, shirts, polo suits, and so much more. There's nothing quite like surprising your sweetheart with a new getup that has you looking your best. Check out their collection today at smithandjames.com.
Okay, how do we plan accordingly? I mean,
we have an email I need to look at.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's a mass email, so it doesn't necessarily affect everyone. So.
Just for kids, especially designed to treat kids' most bothersome cold symptoms quickly with a honeylicious taste and flavor kids like.
You know what else kids like?
They cool kids honey first, then video games.
Deal. Vicks DayGlow Kids Honey. The kids' honeylicious daytime.
Yeah, Tim Friday is like, or Saturday, don't leave yet. Just stay here. It's like, dude, you got this. Yeah, but just wait till 6:30. All right. Because they put it on special playlists, and the problem with special playlists, it doesn't pop up till, it's like in this case, 6:30. So special playlist doesn't pop up till 6:30. So you don't know if things are set up the way they're supposed to be set up or not until that moment. So I always tell them to have an intro up in one of the other channels so you can at least play that. So they got a couple minutes to get everything fixed while you're talking or whoever's talking. How was the stadium?
It was nice. I mean, it wasn't as nice as like Spartanburg's and Dorman's and Gaffney's, but it was nice. Press box was fine. It was no frills, but it was self-contained.
But you were glad to be in it.
You damn right I was glad to be in it. It was warm, bro. When we were setting up for the whole thing, they made it sound like I was going to be outside. And I forgot. Roy was like, do you want to bring the tent? I was like, I really don't want to bring that big tent to set it up. And then when I got there, I'm like, oh, I should have brought the tent.
At least get some sort of shade.
But no, we were inside. And it was nice that it was air conditioning enough that we were able to open the windows so we could get the stadium ambient sound.
Yeah.
Because what I usually do for that, if it's real hot, is I'll open the windows, stick one of the mic headsets out, and close it down. So there's just a crack. But you don't
have a stick mic for that?
No. And if I did, I don't have a holder that's not a based holder.
Okay.
I need to get a clip that I can clip the microphone outside and then shut the window. The Rob Brown Show wrapping up hour number 2. We'll have a lot to get to in the next segment. The Yankees have lost 8 straight games. That is the first time in 28 seasons that has happened. The last 8-game losing streak for the Yankees came in 1995. It is also the longest current active losing streak in MLB. And it cost me and Decker a parlay v parlay on Bet for the Cycle Saturday. It was rough. Did
you lose a bet?
We lost our bet last week, which means that our producer Mario, when we all get together, theoretically, fingers crossed, at the end of September for a weekend in the city, Mario gets 5 full seconds to unload a paintball gun on me and Cody Decker.
Why in the world would you do that?
Because we really thought we were going to win.
I mean, have you been shot with a?
Yeah, it sucks.
Yeah, that's gonna hurt.
All we get is like t-shirts and joggers.
All right. 5.
Like full gear.
You said 5 seconds.
5 seconds, and there's 2 of us, so he gets to pick who he's gonna unload on, and I suspect he's gonna spend the majority of that time getting deck, because I'm nice to Mario off the air, and I'm hoping that karma is gonna pay off.
All right. So is he someone who plays quite a bit?
He has played before, yeah.
Oh,
He knows what he's doing.
So that's
and
what
on
I'm
top
saying.
of that, we had a listener offer to donate his very professional paintball gun, which is like one that is just like you just breathe on
that's
the
what I was
trigger
going to
and it
say. I've
shoots.
seen the ones
Yeah.
that you barely tap, and it might as well be an automatic,
Yeah.
depending on how quickly you can move your
So
fingers.
5 seconds, there's 2 of us. He gets to choose who he wants to focus on. I'm not excited about that at all.
You can paint a picture in 5 seconds.
It's going to be rough. Going to be rough. So we'll see how it goes. But yes, as Kevin pointed out, that's what I get for betting on the New York Stankies.
You did say no headshots, right?
We get to wear the face gear.
Okay, because I mean, an accident can happen.
we
Those
get
things
to-
are not completely accurate.
The only
so.
2 sanctioned bits of protective equipment are headgear and a cup. It'll be the first time since high school I've worn a cup, but you better believe there's no way I'm going in without one.
Are you gonna wear it on the outside?
I might.
Yeah, I mean,
Quail man.
I mean, why not?
Yeah. So anyway, is baseball in trouble with Baseball United popping up? I want y'all's thoughts. Might do a little something on that later in the week as well. Depending on how this whole thing goes, they announced team number 1, the Mumbai Cobras. That's a dodgeball reference.
Was Mumbai like? Was that mentioned in the original Mummy? Well, it wasn't. That was a remake, but still, the one with
Brendan Fraser.
Yeah,
the
yeah.
only mummy that matters.
Well, no, the original Mummy was, I think, Karloff, but still
Done better by Brendan Fraser. It just was. Brendan Fraser's a legend. All right.
Emotep.
That movie's so good, man. So good. Coming up in hour number 3, we'll talk some more college football because it's week 0, and we got football to talk about. So we'll get into that. A couple more storylines we're keeping out on. We'll talk about Spencer Rattler. Luke said the Yankees haven't been that bad since George Costanza was assistant to the traveling manager. Vandelay Industries. All right, let's take a break. Hour number 3 is around the corner. Got a lot to get into on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate. Oh,
okay. Building, what?
Breaking news just about an hour ago, Vinny Bonsignore of the Las Vegas Review-Journal reporting that franchise running back Josh Jacobs is expected to end his contract holdout and report to the team before their week 1 opener against the Denver Broncos.
Starting to get nervous about the doctor. I've been waiting all this time to go, and now I'm worried about it being something really bad. I know in the end, if the pain stops, but still, I've never been
Even
there
if
before.
The process sucks. At least it'll be fixed.
I know. Come get a taste.
He's basically met the challenge that we talked about, and that was seeing the growth and improvement from OTAs and mini camp, and then talked about going into training camp and continue to grow and show us what he's capable of. And we've been very pleased with it. As head coach Ron Rivera after naming Howell QB1 over Jacoby Brissett, they'll play that against the Ravens.
Struggle is real, yo. Kobe Brissett, hard name to say, I guess.
Collection efforts once and for all. Due to the financial hardship consumers are facing throughout the country, the Internal Revenue Service has made it easier to settle delinquent tax problems. An open phone line has been established by Community Tax for consumers to call and see if they qualify. Take down the
Kevin,
or store it in your cell phone, but
stop. No, stop. My knee is messed up. It's been messed up for a while. I'm going to get my knee checked out. I worry about you sometimes. Not really. I never give you another thought. Go away. How dare you say, dude. That just makes me think of when I had to have a sleep study done and the doctor was like, you know that you have a really small mouth. And it's like, dude. And then I had to sleep there all night while they watched for sleep apnea. And it's just like, so the whole time my eyes would just open up and I immediately think that guy's like in the corner going,
You got a pretty mouth.
Thank you, Kevin. I do appreciate your concern and your words of wisdom. No, I think I want the pain to go away, but the worst part is when you go to a doctor and they go, "Does this hurt?" Yes. Yes, it does. So when I do this, yes, would you please stop doing that? Well, we're trying to figure out, trying to the exact spot where it hurts. Well, it does. Madman, I might have watched a few episodes of that. The last time I almost punched a doctor is when one of my kneecap was broken and they straightened my leg on the table and didn't tell me they were going to do it. And yes, I swung.
Ooh.
My dude moved out of the way though. Good on him. I guess it's probably better to not tell someone you're going to do that and just do it. My knee exploded on the field. I stayed with the part, bent the whole time. It was just like, I hate you, sir, with all of my being right now.
You know what? I'll ask it on air.
QC in the first break. Yeah, I was laying on the table and I still almost connected. Apparently, my dude had some experience with it because he did it and he jumped back. I bet I went straight up Undertaker too. I bet there was eyes rolled back in the head and just start swinging. Yeah, I guess it's better to not have a countdown. But still. I was in much better shape then too, by the way. Only weighed about 225. Everything was downhill after that. Thanksgiving, 1987. As far as, trying to control weight and stuff goes.
Bob and weave, dumbass. Yeah. The third, the final, the best, the money hour of the Rob Brown Show goes now, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Fan Upstate. Welcome back, Rob and the great one, the sheriff of sports talk, Lonzo, with you on a beautiful Upstate Monday morning. Thank you all so much for being here with us every single day from 9 until noon. I have a predicament that I need your assistance with, specifically those of you that have expertise in this particular field. I spent the weekend, great one, on the phone trying to figure out if the television in the bro cave is dead, is fixable. Do I want to spend the money on fixing it? And it led to a couple of different options that I have. Option number one is I can pay for a electronic repair service to come out and take a look at the television. Now, if I do that, I'm likely a couple of hundred in the hole before I even get going.
Yeah, you're not doing it without me talking. So, but you know, that's why tag team, man.
I dropped my pen.
Yeah.
Again.
I was waiting. He's just hoping that I would start speaking, but I did it at the exact right time, almost like I've done that before.
Yep. So if I go with the electronic repair service, I'm looking at a couple of $100 before I'm even out the gate. And it could be a couple $100 and they show up and go, no, this TV is dead. In which case I've wasted money out of my television repair and or replacement fund. The second thing is they could show up for a $200 call and then go, yeah, we can fix it, but it's going to be $250, $300.
I have a solution for your problem. First of all, you should just go buy a new one. But before you do that, try to somehow make it look like Jimmy Graham was just arrested on that screen, and then just
been waiting for this,
and then just pull the screen off the wall and just start slamming on the ground. You know those videos we see all the time that we're supposed to believe that someone got mad enough to break the screen. You're throwing it away anyway.
You're waiting for this.
So you might as well just go ahead and find a way to use it for show.
Look,
I mean,
if it's broken, I'll probably do the old "my team lost" punch the
right.
TV
You got to
skid.
do that. I said you probably shouldn't punch it because
Here's the problem: the TV doesn't work. I can't put anything on the screen.
I mean, we know people are good with video.
Well, if they can do that, just fix. Oh, I see what you're saying. Like CGI it up
We'll
there.
put it in post.
Yeah.
Rob will take care of it in post.
So I can either pay and it doesn't get fixed, or I can pay and maybe it does get fixed, but at the cost of just buying a new low-end television, which brings me to my big situation.
By the way, you're a gambler, man. You gamble all the time, so it's taking a gamble on whether they can fix it or not.
Right, but I gamble like $20 on games, not like $700. All right. So here's the last spot I find myself in. Buy a new TV. Okay. And I have some options here. So I can go with the smaller, but more well-known brand television. I can go with like a 55-inch Sony or Panasonic, right? Companies that are known to make real good TVs. Or for the same price, I can jump up to a 75-inch television, but made by a lesser-known company. Now, I don't want to name the company on the air because I don't want it to be to be considered disparaging, but they are a budget television company, from what I understand, that makes a decent TV, but it is a gamble whether or not you're going to get a good budget television or if you're rolling the dice. Richard just popped in and said, hit up Costco, 60 inches for $500. Well, I'll tell you right now, there is at the Costco right now a budget TV Lonzo that I can pick up for $500 that is 75 inches. It is a 4K 1080p mini LED television.
Yeah, but will it fit in your space?
Oh, yeah. I measured it out last night.
All right.
Not only will it fit, but I can mount it to the wall and put it on one of the swivel mounts, right? But it's got 4 HDMI.
Yeah, I tried those swivel mount things, and I wasn't confident in my ability to actually install it, the swivel thing.
I put one in an old place, and it was great.
Because it just seems like if you do that wrong, not only are you going to lose your TV, but a good portion of the wall when it just falls out.
I got no problem with the mounting. I can put it on a swivel mount. I can put it in the bro cave. Then I got the 75-incher in there, and it's ready to roll. So I kind of want to go that direction, but do I spend the money on a budget TV that's 75 inches, or do I pay the same price to go with a 55-inch that's made by a more reputable company?
I have a third option for you, and hopefully they're not listening. But what you do is you figure out what's your favorite TV in this building.
Yep.
You come in and you
take
trade
it?
these, you trade it out.
Yeah.
You put your one that doesn't work in there, and then you send an email to engineering and saying, hey, the TV doesn't work anymore.
It's actually very similar to this one, to be honest with you.
I'm just,
It's the same brand as this
yeah,
one.
they're not listening. They're not going to know.
They're listening. Did you send in a thing to them earlier to come fix
Yeah,
it?
that's why they
okay,
came. Yeah,
gotcha.
it wasn't because they were listening. Yeah.
Either way, am I going with the
That's why I was even
75
more
inch?
embarrassed, because I actually sent it through proper channels where everyone could see, but they went high road and made it sound like that they did. Yeah. Anyway,
Am I going with the 55-inch, more reputable company television made, more reputable company made television, or am I just going to go all in on the budget company but get a 75-inch television?
see, here's the thing. I mean, with the way TVs are made now, I think even the cheaper ones last a whole lot longer than back in the day when you went, well, I don't know that brand, I can't do that. I think it's rare that you'll get a TV and it'll be gone in a year, even if it is a cheaper brand. I speak from experience because, I can only afford cheaper brands.
I went and spent, and I wish I was exaggerating, I went and spent last night probably an hour and 45 minutes while I was watching the Saints-Chargers preseason game, just looking up YouTube reviews, right? Scrolling through YouTube reviews of these TVs. And basically what I got told with the budget TV is it's a fine TV as long as it works, right? Now, because I am, again, a Costco guy now, you get like a 3-year warranty. So I'm almost kind of like, well, that in and of itself, right? If it breaks, just call Costco, get it fixed.
How much are you paying for the warranty, though?
I think it just comes with it.
Maybe.
But if not, even still, 3 years, you going, what, $50? I'm in for $50 to cover up 3 years.
Yeah, that's
right?
usually those questions that people are asking. They go, nah. Do you want the insurance? Nah.
Luke just said, Rob, you're measuring for it. You already see it there. You've already bought the 75.
Yeah,
I think he's right.
He's right. He's
I
for
think
sure
he's
right.
I really do think he's right. So, all right, we'll see.
75, I think might be too big.
Texas said, Rob, number one, you can write off a TV in your line of work. Number two, you have to get a TV with a refresh rate of 120. It does. It does. The budget TV does have, I looked up all the specs. It's got a good refresh rate. It also has on it a video game mode, right? So you click a button and you can, it's like the preset stations in your car, you click number one and it goes to the fan upstate. Number two takes you to Word or whatever. On this one, there's a game mode where you can go in, optimize the screen settings for your game. And then when you flip back to football, you click it over to the football settings. And when you go to a game, you click that and it goes to the game settings.
By the way, even the lesser TVs will do that now. So you're good. So you're good if you want to go cheaper.
Texture said, or buy the smaller one and have an open bar at your wedding. Yeah, like there's any chance that wasn't the plan. I said I want two things when I get hitched: an open bar and to walk into the reception in a Ric Flair room.
Well, if you wanted to wait a year and you have enough people coming to your wedding, those people who go, well, I don't know what to get them, I'm just going to give them money. You'll just have a bunch of money and you can go out and buy the biggest TV you want.
Steven says, I have 7 TVs in my house over 55 inches. LG makes the majority of all TV screens anyways. Samsung is just as good as some things unless you drop $3,000 or above, no difference. Yeah, so the TV that broke is an LG. It's an LG that I have right now. And it was a fine TV that I'll say, I think I had it for, actually, now that I think about it, I'm really not mad because I got that TV when I was working in television, and that was like 2015. So that TV lasted me 8 years.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
I'm not mad, actually.
And how many moves?
Let's see. I went from house to house in Fort Walton, house to Destin, from Destin to Fort Walton, from Fort Walton to Fort Walton, from Fort Walton to Pensacola to Jacksonville to Pensacola to Greenville. So probably about 11, 12.
See, and no matter
stop moving.
No matter how careful you are packing things and stuff, they're still going to get jostled and stuff like that. So I think that's pretty
really
good
not
that it
bad.
lasted that long. Yeah.
You know what? I take it back. I take it back. I was sending LG some pretty Karen tweets there for a minute. I might have to go delete those. I might have to offer LG an apology. I did not realize how long I've had that TV.
We've had that happen before. TV just goes dark, and I'm just
quit.
like, yeah. And then I start thinking, okay, Cameron was in kindergarten when we got this TV. I'm okay with it going back.
I was kind of upset about it, but I just realized I bought that TV in either. No, you know what? It was not. It was 2014 because it was my first year working at the TV station. 2014. That TV lasted me 9 years. That's not bad. All right, I take it back, LG. You're not bad. You gave me a 9-year TV. I can live with that.
And you factor that into how much you paid for it then, and how much you used it, and how much. I mean, that's not bad for each year of use.
It did work. And I gotta tell you, I've said in the past, like there are things that I do not like pull money back for, right? I'm gonna spend good money on sunglasses. That's a game changer, right? I'm gonna spend good money on a suit. When I buy a new suit, I get a nice suit, I get it tailored. I spend good money on shoes, right? I gotta have my feet. They're very important to me. Good money on shoes.
Yeah, he doesn't want them touching any part.
Right.
So yeah.
I get good money. I pay good money for steak. Like if the fiance wants steak, we're getting a good steak. I'm not half-assing it. And I'm going to add TVs to that list. I feel like you got to spend good money on a TV. I think I'm just going to have to go with the I may even have to go a little bit more on the 75-inch. We'll see. Texas said, boy, it'd be a shame if all these TVs were made at the same factory with different labels slapped on them. They're not, though. Because that was my first thought, too. Like, does it matter? And then I started going through and, like, looking at the components, and they are all built differently. They really are. So, anyway, we'll see. I'm going to look at it. Ron said, I have 3 TCL Roku smart TVs in the last 3 years, 32, 43, and 55 inches. They're outstanding, and they do have a 75-inch one. Like, the only problem is I can't go $3,000 on it.
Here's what you have to do. You need to go there and say, hey, could you put Starfield on this TV? So I can see what it looks like. So when I'm playing it in a couple weeks, I'll know what it's gonna, what the experience is gonna be like.
All right, we'll see where
there are some TVs, by the way, and I forget. I think it might be Samsung that come with Starfield already loaded on the TV. So I mean, when you go to look at a TV, do you check and see what it looks like for movies and for sports and for video games, or are you going for, what you're using on that TV mostly? So it's sports and video games, right?
100%.
Yeah. So
100%.
So are you looking more to see like what TVs gamers like the most, what TVs sports fans like the most?
I do. Like my YouTube recommendations, when I pulled it up this morning, it's just all TV reviews because I look at reviews from gamers, I look at reviews from the tech dorks, and I look at reviews from just like some dude, right? Like you got to get all 3 angles because when I'm watching football, I'm just some dude. When I fire up GTA 5, I gotta have I want to know the gamers are good with it, and then the tech guys, I like to know like if this chip goes bad, if this board goes bad, am I in for another $1,000? Or is it an easy switch, easy flip? So anyway, TVs go way up on the priority list. All right, let's do this. Let's run to a break so we can actually have a couple of stories in the next segment. This is important. I don't want to make this show about me.
Listen,
but I gotta get this right. Dude.
You also use a TV for your job.
For everything.
Yeah, so it's very important. It's just as important as that microphone.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I gotta do it. All right. Let's take a break. Shaq, hang on a second, man. I'm going to give you your time, Shaq. Just hang in there. We got to run to a break. When we come back, we've got a massive upset in UFC we got to mention real quick because Lonzo's got a conspiracy theory, and I'm all in for it. So we'll get that coming back. We'll talk some college football. We'll hit What the X and more on The Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate.
You see.
All right, guys, live read right here. Stay right there. We'll be right back. All right, y'all, we back. A 55-inch Sony TV with a 240 hertz refresh rate that is gaming TV, FYI, game changer. Yeah, I might go because like I can go with the 55 or the 65-inch and get a higher refresh rate. But I also got told that unless you're just like a massive TV guy, like 120 is fine. 240 is going to make a movie smoother. But I'm also going to tell you, I don't watch a ton of like if we're going to watch a movie, the lady friend and I usually watch it on the couch in the living room. Like that TV is for football and video games. And that's really it. Texture said, get a gaming monitor for your Xbox separate from the big TV. Just switch to an actual gaming monitor this year, and I'll never go back to gaming on a massive TV. See, I've actually been told gaming on a real big TV is actually not good because it spreads you out too much.
Well, I have one of my birthday requests is a gaming monitor for my computer after been playing Baldur's Gate 3 a bunch. And I was just asked, do I want a curved one? And I don't know. Does a curved monitor, if you're playing a game, does it mean, I mean, unless, do you have to be right up on it for the curve to really matter? Yeah. I mean, or does it just help your peripheral a lot more because you can see something coming over? I don't know.
The Rob Brown Show continues. It is the Fan Upstate. All right. Let's talk about this real quick. You know, we ordinarily save the MMA stuff for Fight Club on Thursdays at 11:20, but I can't not talk about the result of UFC. What was it, 279, I think, this weekend. Sugar Shane taking on Alistair Sterling. Sterling spent all week saying this dude is a knockoff Conor McGregor. He's all lip and no punch. He's just a show guy. He has 0 wins or scratch that, 0 finishes over guys that are actively on the UFC roster. Well, now he has one because Sugar Shane did not put Sterling all the way to sleep, but he definitely sent him to the shadow dimension for just a second, hit him with a right cross that made Sterling forget what city he was in. And then once Sterling went back to the mat, just started raining down the thunder fist onto his face until the referee had no other choice but to dive in and make the save. And this is really interesting for a few reasons. Number one, if Sugar Shane is trying to be the next Conor McGregor, he's on the scene now. He has arrived. He's got a belt. He's going to be inside the top, probably top 5 pound for pound guys with that win. Sugar Shane is now on the radar as one of the top guys in UFC. And I'll be honest with you, I didn't move him into those rankings until he got this win over Sterling. But it wasn't a fluke win. I mean, he beat him. I'm not saying he had that fight definitively won via decision if Sterling doesn't go down, but he was definitely in control of the fight. And that right that stunned him, I mean, it was clear who won that fight. So that part was interesting, A. And B, what was very interesting about it, and I pointed this out, and it was not just me that noticed this. I saw a couple of other people point this out. If you follow the UFC account, usually during fight night, they'll throw clips of a fight. They'll just give you the little taste, right? Just a little sprinkle to get you to flip over and watch whatever's going on. Very rarely do they put the full finish to a fight on their Twitter account or their X account, right? They will show you the 10, 15, 20 seconds leading up to the knockout blow. And once that blow lands, they'll stop the video. So you got to go see what happened. Or the opposite. They'll show the guy reacting to his win. They'll show him doing the backflip and climbing up on top of the octagon and all that. And they'll show the guy on his back coming back to or whatever. But UFC actually showed the entire end of the fight on their Twitter account.
See, and that's the thing. And I didn't buy the card. And the main season for UFC really is in between the Super Bowl and the start of college football. So that's usually when they put together some really good cards, the kind that you cannot pass up. You have to buy it. And I am a fan, but I'm not an Uber fan. But if I see a really good card, I'm going to buy that card. I haven't bought one, I don't think, all summer. And part of the reason that I think UFC is struggling a little bit is they don't have the face of the UFC anymore. And I think this is why that Sean O'Malley is on there. Why they played the entire video. I saw Ariel Helwani like UFC just tweeted the entire finish. They never do that because they want this out there. They need a new face. They need a face that they can put out there everywhere, that they can put on TV shows. Watched an interview with him on McAfee's show. It was excellent. He does a really good job on the mic. He does a good job with media. They can't put Conor back in there again because of all the legal problems he's had. You can't put John Jones as the face of the UFC because will he be there next month? We don't know. They've got to find somebody. Nunes, I believe, is retired, right? And so they don't have a face anymore. When you think UFC, who do you think? There just isn't anyone really that they can put out everywhere that universally is liked or hated in the same way that, wrestling is a heel or a babyface. Sean O'Malley's that guy. He is. And I believe that's why they're doing this. And they know they're heading into a season where their pay-per-views are going to have to compete with college football. And in order to do that, you got to get somebody out there that people want to see fight. And he's that guy. He's been that guy for me for a while since, I love watching his fights. Like I said, the card wasn't good enough for me to buy the entire thing, but I immediately got up the next morning and was like, okay, who won? And then, all right, I'm going to get to see a bit of the fight. And then it's like, wait a minute. I just saw almost the whole fight. Why am I able to see this? And that's why they got to find a face of the company and they don't have one.
I agree with that theory entirely. I really do. They are looking for, they need a McGregor, right? They need a McGregor. And I don't think they have one, right? Like I'm going through and looking at the most recent signings of UFC. There's none that really jump out at me. I'm looking down the list of current champs, right? You got John Jones, but John Jones, very polarizing. And let's be real, while still at a very high level, John Jones is not the John Jones he was 7-8 years ago, right?
But he's still a guy. I will buy a card to see him lose.
Sure.
And hopefully someday I'll get my wish.
Sure. But outside of that, is Volkanovski a guy that's making you buy a card?
No.
Is Makachev a guy that's buying you make a card?
And it's not just about the fans either. It's the fringe fans who will, I ain't got nothing going on. Let's see he's fighting. I think I'll buy that. It's those guys they need to bring back in. The hardcore fans are going to buy anyway, but they've got to bring in new fans because UFC was growing, and I think it's kind of stagnant right now.
I think it is. I think you're exactly right. So I'm looking down the list, right? I'm looking down the list. And there's not a lot of names that I go, I'm buying a card. I would say Jones, Adesanya.
Yeah, I love Adesanya.
I think Sterling just fell off that list, right? I mean, he'll have to win 2-3 more to convince me he's still in there. Is Oliveira on that list? I mean, if he is, he's on the fringe. Kamaru Usman has now lost 2 in a row to Leon Edwards, and Leon Edwards isn't a guy that's making me buy anything, so no. Max Holloway's not that guy. I would say Gaethje is probably on that list only because he just knocked off Diamond. So like maybe Gaethje's on that list. But outside of that, there's not that guy that you go, I'm going to buy the card for this cat, right? Sugar Sean is the closest that you're going to get to that Conor McGregor level of I got to watch what this guy does and says. The dude that shows up with the multicolored white guy afro and jokes around in the press conference is the closest they have to a McGregor. And that win over Sterling was a massive moment in UFC history. So not only do I think it makes sense for them to actually just give away the end of that fight because it makes you want to tune in for the next one. But I think it's also, I think you're exactly right. It's them putting a pedestal up underneath Sugar Sean and going, this is if you were the guy that tuned in for McGregor, if you're the dude that tuned in for Francis Ngannou to watch him get into the mental games that those two played, Sugar Sean's the next guy. He's the next WWE character. Now, I will also say this, Lonzo. I think this is the inevitable result of what I have complained about out of the UFC for years. You have leaned too much on the WWE side of it and not enough on the let's get the best fighters to fight the best fights and pay them for it, right? I think you spent so much time trying to skew this organization over towards the fireworks and the pyro and the walkout music and the showmanship that you ran out of great fighters.
Yeah, but see, I don't blame them from that aspect. The wrestling business right now, the pro wrestling business, is probably the biggest it's ever been, thanks to competition with each other. And I'm talking about bringing in money-wise. So if you're trying to get that crowd and win that crowd, I get it. But I also understand what you're saying. But how many fighters out there, I mean, they are doing Ultimate Fighter. They're doing Contender Series stuff where they're trying to find the next guys. It's just they haven't found as many yet, guys and girls. I mean, because who's the face of the women's division right now?
There ain't one. When Nunes walked away, I mean, Rose maybe? But the point is we can have that debate. And again, I don't think you necessarily need to have the face, the one face.
Yeah, you can have multiple.
Right. I think you need to build up to having multiple. This is also why it's important to me to be working in every weight class to have the face. You need the face in every weight class. Now you've got one in bantamweight. With John Jones, you've got one in heavyweight or medium heavy, middle heavyweight, whatever road he decides he wants to go down. So this is big for UFC because he's probably the first character since McGregor left that gives you that WWE entertainment angle and that win over Sterling, because that's always been the big thing, right? And I've said this how many times lately about McGregor. Like, McGregor going out there and talking smack and being funny is only going to drive you so far if he's getting his ass kicked every time he gets in the octagon. I'm not going to tune in knowing McGregor's going to be asleep by the end of the night.
All right.
Didn't do anything for me.
So the next pay-per-view, or the UFC pay-per-view I know I'm going to buy is UFC 295, which is November 11th, and that's the John Jones Stipe Miocic fight. That's a long time between now and then as far as other things that they're going to put on. Now, I'll watch Fight Night, especially during the summer on ESPN, the free ones, for sure. And I also have ESPN Plus, so I'll watch some of those too. But as far as buying one, you need a couple of names on a card to get me to buy it. Except in this case, I want to see John Jones versus Miocic. Now, I wonder if a lot of people are like that and they're not going to buy another one until November. There's a lot of time between now and then, and that's a lot of money lost. So you've got to put somebody out there that's going to do. And also, Sean O'Malley said he wants to fight again before the end of the year. So, some of those guys will fight and then they'll be done for like a year, but he wants to fight again and he needs to, and they need him to.
Yeah, I think you're spot on. I think, first off, I do think O'Malley's going to catch another fight. Now, is it before the end of this year? Nah, I think it's probably at the very beginning of next year, right? Because that's the other part is what UFC's not going to want to do, though, is send that guy out there for his first title defense 3 months after he just won the thing, right? I mean, you want to trot him out there. You want a fighting champ. But what you don't want is for him to get thrown out there, especially if you give him a rematch, right? Could you see them going with Alistair Sterling in a rematch? I think the answer is very much a yes. But if he goes out there and he gets put down in round one of a rematch, or worse, if he goes out there and gets put down in round one of a fight of some up-and-comer in the bantamweight division, you've just lost the whole build, right?
Well, I had to look it up. That's a half of one. You can count it as a point if you want. He had already, I saw on the post conference that he called somebody out. It's Gervonta Davis. So he's already called somebody out.
Okay. Well, we'll see where they go. We'll see where they
so
go.
He already has a guy that he wants to fight next, and that's not a rematch. That's just, and that would be a good fight. So we'll see. But I do think it's a good move on UFC's part. I think you've got to do that to get some people in. He's colorful in his look, in his language, in everything. You can get people who are not big time fans, that are casual fans, to buy in to watch him fight.
I agree entirely. Good win for Sugar Sean O'Malley. Dude, to put himself on the map, no doubt about it. And UFC, again, not just put himself on the map, but put himself on a time where UFC is trying to draw the map, right? They're trying to figure out who the face is. Lonzo is spot on. which makes sense why we were so overexposed to that win when usually they don't want to give that away. They make you want to go pay something to see it, right? That's why if you ever watch after those fights, ESPN's going to give you the results, but they will not show the fight. They don't have the rights to. UFC guards those. So the fact that they just threw it out there is frankly pretty damn impressive.
WWE does the same thing. They'll get you right up to the point where the ending of the match, and you might hear the call from Michael Cole or whoever, but you don't actually see it because they want you to go back and watch.
Yeah, you're not wrong. All right. A couple of other things that we need to get into on the show. I want to dive more into this tomorrow because I did not really get a chance to sit it down, go pen to paper, and think about what the direction this goes is. But Missouri House Bill 417 passed last spring, and it is starting to shape up and take effect now. Missouri House Bill 417 not only codified name, image, and likeness compensation for college athletes across the state of Missouri, but it also included a wrinkle that, as far as I've been able to find, is relatively unique for the state of Missouri. In major college athletics in the state of Missouri under House Bill 417, the Missouri state government has basically allowed for freshmen, once you sign, well, I should say, honestly, not even freshmen, high school seniors, once you sign a written agreement, such as a letter of intent or a financial aid agreement with an in-state school in Mizzou, you are eligible to begin receiving NIL money immediately, which means that in some cases, soon to be Missouri Tigers or other Missouri State athletes could receive NIL money up to 10 months before they can receive money at schools outside of the state. Now, as far as what that means, how that impacts Mizzou, how that impacts other schools, we're going to talk a little bit more about that because, again, I want to do a little bit more research. I actually want to go read the bill because I haven't read it yet, see what it says, yada, yada, yada. But I find this real interesting. I'm going to just say one more time what I said when it started. You didn't lay the groundwork. Those guardrails, we've heard so much about it. That's the buzzword when it comes to NIL stuff. You didn't lay the groundwork, the foundation, the guardrails down at the beginning. You opened the door for states around the country to take full advantage, and now you are afraid to do anything because of legislation, because of litigation, to walk those things back. And now you have states jumping advantage. Mizzou is the first. They will not be the last.
Either they thought it wasn't going to get out of hand like this, or they knew it was going to get out of hand like this, and they waited so they could swoop in and get some money for themselves. Talking about the government.
Yep. Talking about the government.
That's what they do. They like that money.
I mean, I wouldn't say we're talking about, I think we're talking about the NCAA up front. Again, the NCAA could have worked on putting down rules about this stuff early. They avoided it because they did not want to get into the litigation. And it leads to this, which I guess is to some degree, yeah, passing the buck onto the feds. Yeah, y'all take care. This is ugly. Y'all take care of this. And we'll see where it goes.
Unless, of course, they already had meetings with them and they decided this is how this is going to go. Then we're going to be able to come in. We'll make sure you get your cut.
I mean, that's tinfoil hat-esque, but I can't disprove it. So we'll see. We'll see. All right. I'll go ahead and tell you guys, since it is college football week Saturday, that on tomorrow's show, we have given you our SEC and ACC power rankings. We have given you our SEC and ACC projected order of finish. On tomorrow's show, because I want to, and because I need to give Lonzo a head up, and I'll forget if I don't do it right now. Tomorrow, we will tell you our playoff 4 projected. Tomorrow, we will give you the 4 teams that we believe end up in the college football playoffs. And I am going to tell you, great one, I started this last night, and I've had a very difficult time because I've got a lot of scenarios in my head. I gave you one earlier. I could see a pair of 12-1 teams coming out of the SEC. I could see a pair of 12-1 teams coming out of the ACC, I could see a round robin of one-loss teams out of the Big Ten with Ohio State, Michigan, and Penn State. The problem is only one of those can go play for and win a Big Ten title. So what happens if one of those teams goes 12-1 and wins the Big Ten, but you also have two other 11-1 teams out of the Big Ten, neither with a conference title, but both with very high caliber wins?
Hey, do you remember when you could ask this question and you go Ohio State, Alabama,
Georgia, Clemson?
No, Clemson. Georgia wasn't in there
Oh, yeah,
at the
that's
time.
true.
It was
That's
Ohio
new.
State, Alabama, and Clemson, and some fourth team that's going to get their butt beat by somebody. That fourth team still is it's still a thing, but you can't do that anymore. Has Georgia just taken the place of Alabama? And where's Clemson? I don't know. So it's a little bit harder to pick right now than it has been, like, let's say 3 years back.
We're going to break them down. We're going to give you our playoff for tomorrow because I got, and I got to tell you, it's going to be a job for me. It's going to be a job for me to come up with 4. And honestly, I could come up with 4, bring it on the air tomorrow, and then you guys talk me out of it in a minute. It's going to be, it's a challenge, man. I think you could have a dark horse SEC winner in either Alabama or LSU. Honestly, I like LSU as a pick, but a dark horse one-loss team out of the SEC. You could have a pair of 11-1 teams out of the ACC if Clemson and FSU swap wins, one in the regular season, one in the ACC title game, right? Which one would deserve to go more? So we'll talk about that tomorrow on the show. I meant to get into that Spencer Rattler thing today, but that baseball, I forgot about that that baseball segment I did with Decker until this morning. And I don't know, man. I feel like that's a huge deal. I really do. I feel like that's an enormous deal. If they get into that and follow the blueprint of the Saudis with the Live Tour, I'm not going to lie. I very much worry about the future of Major League Baseball. And don't tell me I'm being an existentialist because I said that about the PGA, and you guys told me back then that I was being pessimistic. And just about everything I said was going to happen happened.
It's too early in the morning to use words that have more than 3 syllables.
Existentialism?
Yeah, that's a lot, man. That's what, like 7? I don't know. I didn't count them, but it's more than 3. Can we existentially go to break?
We sure can. We got What the X is going on next, and then we call it a day. I'm Rob. He's Lonzo. The Rob Brown Show's on your radio. It is the Fan Upstate. I was trying to figure out what smartcastic thing to say to go to break, and then you just nailed it.
Hey, I say stay in your lane, but you're in that lane with me all the time.
Yep.
So, I mean, Yes, James, and thank you for pointing that out. That's just, it brings me great pleasure. I don't know why. Remember when the 4th team beat Michigan? I get to go to the doctor. What do you do for a living? I work at a communications company.
I do like saying it that way. What do you do for a living? I make butt jokes on the radio.
Well, if there's a lot of orange in the thing, I'm probably going to go with that. 'Cause, I have awakened from surgery before and been told, we're all Clemson fans, but we took care of you. It's like, oh, boy, thank you. Hey, man, I said that earlier, and Rob doesn't agree. Historically, Georgia and South Carolina has been some really odd scores. I mean, lately it's been one-sided, but So going to a new doctor, hair up or hair down? I mean, if I go hair up and put my glasses on, I look like what I am, a grandpa. Or if I leave the hair down, they may go, oh, I don't know.
Am I the only one thinking Georgia may struggle and lose to South Carolina in their first non-cupcake game? No, it's just you and Zoe, though, Scott. You're the only two.
It's not. There's more of us. That makes sense, kind of, Steven, but you don't have to worry about that for me. I live in the woods. Most of my grass is weeds. So is a good looking lawn, is that for you or is that for your neighbors? Is that like art so you can say, look, hey, look at my yard?
I would say it's like dressing well, right? Like I dress well because it makes me feel more confident, but also I want other people to look at me and be like, oh, that guy's got his life together.
Wow, I'll have to work on that in the future. Never thought about it that way. That's true. Once they get going. Thanks for the clarification there, Trey.
I would agree that there is a better chance of losing near the beginning versus later on, but I also don't think there's anybody near the beginning that I think is just good enough. Like South Carolina, for the record, South Carolina is the best bet early in the year.
Georgia, new quarterback, right?
Yes.
Could struggle, especially early in the year before he gets going.
2 warm-up games before South. If it was week 1, I'd feel much better about it. But he's got UT Martin and Ball State before he gets there.
To build his confidence into thinking, yeah, I got this. Then he faces an SEC team. I mean,
$1,000 water bill, Steven? 1,000? Are you watering it with like glacier water? Are you shipping your water in from the Arctic? The games that could trip up Georgia: South Carolina, at Auburn, at Tennessee. That's it. And I'll take Georgia by -7.5 in all of them. I just roll with it. All right, wait. Before we kick, because we got 1 minute and 6 seconds till it's supposed to start. So am I just
I had a lot of stuff
in Georgia?
Yeah, you are.
Because the people in the stream make me feel like I'm just being way overconfident in Georgia.
There are quite and most of them are Gamecock fans, and that's okay. Yeah. You should believe in your team. You absolutely should. And there's doubting Georgia. That's okay also. Most of us know, except for Georgia fans who seem to forget, that the only reason why Georgia won the national championship last year was because of a bad kicker on Ohio State's side. And yes, I'm a Ohio State fan and I do have bias, but come on. I mean, that kick is why you went to the national championship game. So Georgia can lose, and they've got a new quarterback. A bunch of people have new quarterbacks. That's the thing. A bunch of teams, rather, have new quarterbacks. A bunch of front runners have new quarterbacks. We don't know how they're going to play. Just like in the NFL, sometimes there are busts, even at the college level. So we'll have to wait and find out.
If Beck isn't on the level of Stepben, yeah, but I mean,
he could be better.
Yeah,
he could be. There may have been loyalty there for Stetson Bennett, and that's the reason why he played. And this guy may come out and tear it up, but we don't know.
That's true.
All right. The first thing that's Xing is Ryan Day.
I mean, Ryan, I've got a list of coaches on the hot seat, and we're going to go with those tomorrow. Ryan Day's obviously like the first 3 on the hot seat, right?
All right. So press conference today, he did not name a starter. He said they both Devin Brown and Kyle McCord, both rated out champion level, definitely. And Heisman. That he asked for the assistant coaches to vote on who should be the starter. and it was split right down the middle. So
Yeah, okay.
So that has me worried. Or it could be that they're both it could be they're both really
$10
good.
Kyle McCord starts week 1.
I am not going to take a bet. And if he was going to be that guy, they would have already said it. I mean, why hide it? It's good if there's a competition, I guess.
This is Bill Belichick's injury report is what this is.
I don't know. I don't know, man.
100%
I don't
Belichick's
know.
Injury report.
It's a big enough deal that it was trending. And they went live and everyone was expecting him to name a starter and he did not. So, and you're a week away from the start of college football season when week 1 happens. Some people are playing week 0. I don't think Ohio State is one of those teams. All right. The next thing that's Xing, is Ahsoka.
Drops what, tomorrow? No, next week?
No, tomorrow.
Tomorrow. It is tomorrow.
Tomorrow at 6 p.m.
I got to tell you, dude.
2 episodes.
It is probably, and I've loved everything they've put up, including Obi-Wan. I don't think I've been as excited for a Star Wars drop since the first movie of the late trilogy. I'm jacked. And I will tell you, part of it is because I am a massive fan of the Star Wars animated TV shows they've put out. The first one that Ahsoka was in, and I don't remember the name of the exact series.
I believe it was Clone Wars.
I think it was Clone Wars. The Clone Wars series that had a focus on the squad, the big squad of clone troopers, alongside a young Obi-Wan, Anakin between the end of the middle trilogy, or I guess the first trilogy, and becoming Vader, and Ahsoka is his Padawan. So this is Anakin's Padawan off on her own, because she left Obi-Wan and Anakin towards the end of the Clone Wars. I am beyond jacked about this show. I think this show is going to be the first one in a while that I'm watching every episode as it drops. There will not be any I'll save it for a rainy day.
Well, I hope you're not disappointed. So they're going to they moved it back a day, so they're now going to come out every Tuesday at 6 p.m. Like I said, first 2 episodes dropping tomorrow night. So yeah, yep. I will be watching them right around 6 o'clock. The next thing that's trending is fat bottom girls.
They do indeed make the rockin' world go round.
And admittedly, I didn't look it up to find out why.
Don't worry, I will.
You go right ahead. I'm not looking that up.
I'm gonna go
ahead. It probably has something to do with Queen more than likely, but you don't know that for sure.
Let's see. The apparently there is a movement out there to get fat bottom girls cut from the list of Queen's greatest hits to, quote, appease a younger audience. Listen, y'all, I am all for social consequences for people being bad people. I am fine with your cancel culture when people are doing things worthy of it. But you're going to step right the hell up off Freddie Mercury. You are going to leave Freddie Mercury and Brian Mays and the boys of Queen alone. And you are going to let me and everybody else who loves it bump fat bottom girls until my ears fall off. Fat bottom girls, you make the rockin' world go round.
I don't know if I would have worded it bump fat. Okay.
I did what I did. I said what I said. Leave Freddie alone. Y'all have a lovely rest of your day. We'll see you back here tomorrow to do it all over again, but better on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate later. Yeah. Good news, Fat Bottom Girls is still available on Spotify. Okay, so here's what happened, because I always like to go find what happened. What happened was Queen has their catalog licensed to Yodo. Yodo is a company that takes songs and kidifies them, right?
Like Kids Bop?
Kind of.
Okay.
It takes songs and it kidifies them to allow parents to start introducing their kids to actual good music, but in a child-friendly way. So they censor them and they pull out the questionable lyrics and they re-record them so they're good or whatever. And this company dropped Fat Bottom Girls from their kidified Queen's Greatest Hits album.
Why in the world would you put that song on there anyway? There's just some songs you're not going to be able to fix to make it sound. I mean, come on. That's like saying, well, let's go with I want your sex, and we'll change it and make it more kid. No, I mean, there's some words you just can't. I mean, some songs you can't do that. Yes, No Yodo is. You're right. He is Grogu's long lost brother, No Yodo.
Yodo. All right, boys and girls, thank you guys for hanging out. Hope you enjoyed it. We did. Not that you asked. It'd have been rude of you not to. Have a lovely rest of your day. Don't work too hard. Be back here tomorrow. We'll do it all over again. Have a good one. Goodbye.